Hey y'all, welcome to Remote Viewing Investigations with Jessica. I'm your host, Jessica Jones. We'll be peering through the veil to shed light on mysterious cases from all over the world. We invite you to join us on this magnificent journey through space and time to try to unravel these mysteries. Please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, share this out, and subscribe to Texas Front Porch and to my channel, The Cryptid Huntress on YouTube. You can find us on Odyssey Radio and iHeartRadio and can contact us at Texas Front Porch on Facebook or email us at paracryptidencounters@gmail.com and oracleofthesouth@gmail.com. You can reach us through text at 972-559-0988. If you'd like to support us in what we do here, our super chats are open. Thanks and enjoy the show. Well, hey, y'all. I forgot to pull myself up earlier. Thank you so much for being here tonight to Remote Viewing Investigations with Jessica Jones. I'm your host. You guessed it. I'm Jessica Jones. So we have such an amazing show tonight. I have a classic that I've looked into. Okay, ever since I've started looking into dogman encounters, I have heard about the Beast of Bray Road. Okay, and so I don't know a whole lot about the Beast of Bray Road. I do know there are some interesting movies made about it that are a little, I guess they're in the horror genre. Okay, and they kind of are based loosely on kind of the accounts that people have given of this beast. Now, is it a Bigfoot, a dogman? What is this thing? I'm going to read a little bit about this for you guys so we can get a good feel about what we're looking at tonight. Because I did remote view the Beast of Bray Road, and I have my friend Barry Littleton here with me tonight to talk about the Beast of Bray Road. Okay, so the Beast of Bray Road is said to be a humanoid wolf-like creature that has been reported in the rural area of Elkhorn, Wisconsin. The beast was originally spotted on a farm road for which it is named. The Beast of Bray Road is often reported as being around 7 feet tall, covered in hair, walking on 4 legs or 2 legs, having the body similar to a human and the head of a wolf or a bear. Some say it looks like a Bigfoot or a werewolf. The creature was allegedly first sighted in 1836. In the 1980s and 1990s, several alleged witnesses reported the beast had made contact with their vehicles, leaving large scratch marks on the doors of the trunks and the backside of their vehicles. One witness said she hit something while crossing Bray Road in her car, and upon exiting her vehicle to determine what hit her or she had hit, a large wolf-like creature with red eyes chased her back into her car, leaving claw marks on the back of her car. Sightings have also been reported during the day, with several witnesses saying they observed an unusually large wolf-like creature running on all 4s through the cornfields. All right, this is a pretty isolated road up in Wisconsin. Okay, so y'all know I looked into it, and I have Barry Littleton here with me tonight. He's going to help me kind of unbox some of this information that I have because I think it is it's something that we're all curious about. So tonight I have Mr. Barry Littleton joining me on Remote Viewing Investigations. Hello, Barry. Hey, you are muted. Let's unmute you. There you go.
Hello. Hey, how you doing, Jessica? Hey. Sorry.
You know what? Tonight, I would say we're in Mercury retrograde because we just had a couple of little snafus there with me forgetting to pull myself up on the screen. And you were muted tonight. This is unusual. So we're already having anomalies going on tonight.
Yeah. It's been an interesting couple of days, definitely. And solar activity's high. So everything's, on the fritz, it seems like. And I say hello to your audience. They always speak and they're always very kind. So hello to all of them too. So honored to be here again and kind of hang out and see what's going on.
Yeah. Well, you have done a lot of extensive research on Bigfoot and Dogman and all the cryptids. And you have an amazing website, Barry Littleton on YouTube as well, and your Patreon. So you're my go-to when it comes to researching these kind of things, and people are kind of questioning whether this is a Bigfoot, if it's a dog man, if it's a werewolf. Okay. And I've been looking into all of those lately. And so I wanted to look into this. It is October. I figured we do some creepy ones. And this is one of the top creepy ones, okay, to do. So yeah. This legend goes back to the 1930s, Barry.
I have a quick question before we get started on this.
Sure.
I'm familiar with it a little bit, but was anyone actually hurt in these in this incident?
No, I never picked up on anybody getting hurt by this thing. Yeah. Which makes it a little less threatening. Okay. And because the things that I've looked into a lot of times are attacks. And this was just a legend, and there were several eyewitness reports. And even in 1991 or 93, Inside Edition went out to Elkhorn and did a report that was aired on television on Inside Edition about this. I watched that today. So yeah, about people, there were different accounts of people that had encountered this beast. So yeah, it's really interesting. I am going to give a little bit of history about this. Okay. So I'm not going to get into my data just yet, Barry. All right. We're going to talk a little bit about the history, and then we'll get into the data. And you've had a very interesting video that you posted on Facebook just a little while ago. And I reposted it on my Facebook page if anyone would like to see it, about a grave digging dog man, I believe. Okay. And that's going to have a little bit or a lot to do with what we're talking about tonight. So if anybody's interested, y'all go check that out.
When I read your data, that came to me immediately was that video. I was like, wow, you're actually seeing that in action. So this will be interesting.
Absolutely. What's crazy is that you posted that video while I had already uploaded still shots from that video for tonight on our show.
Oh,
so yeah, we're going to be talking about that tonight.
I sent it to you on your normal page, but sadly that was only a 55-second clip. It wasn't his whole video. So sorry about that.
Yeah, well, we're going to get into that. I actually had that video sent to me by Jody Cook, who's the head of the North American Dogman Project, a while back, to look at. And I've seen the comments on that video on other places, and people are like, "Oh, that's fake. It's a human or something." But humans don't go into regular cemeteries and dig with their hands and try to dig up graves. It's just weird. Okay, we're going to get into that in a minute. Okay, so let's go back to 1936. Okay, 1936, there was a 33-year-old man. His name was Mark Shackleman. Okay, he was a night watchman at St. Coletta School for Exceptional Children. Man, that sounds like a school I should have gone to. Just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Exceptional Children. I don't know. Wait, is exceptional smart or is that not smart? I don't know. Okay. I'm not sure. Higher level. Okay.
High functioning.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Y'all can let me know. Anyways. Okay. So it was about 45 minutes away from Elkhorn. Okay. That is where Bray Road is. Okay. And this man was on night watch, and he went outside and found a big creature that was digging into an Indian burial mound. Okay. Indian burial mound. It saw Mark. It stood up on two legs and it ran off. Okay. This thing was like a hairy beast. Okay. It was like it wasn't a human. All right. He described it as being tall and hairy, and he thought it was like an animal. He said the next night he saw it again. It vocalized ga, da, ra. Okay, it actually said those three syllables, ga, da, ra, before it ran off. All right. His wife made him swear that he'd never tell anyone out of fear of their reputations being ruined. He waited until 7 years after she died. Okay. 7 years after his wife died before he told his son, Joe. Okay. Now, Joe Shackleman later became a newspaper editor in Kenosha. All right. He told his father's story he wrote a book called Midwestern Strange. And I'm going to quote what he said, okay? It's the beast was stooped over gorilla-like, hairy, with a terrible stench to him. I think my father said it smelled like rotting meat. Okay. So that right there tells me that actually has more of a Bigfoot vibe to it. Okay. Because Bigfoot, Sasquatch smells bad. All right. Now, I've never been close enough to a dog man. I've never seen a dog man. I don't even know if they smell bad. I have never heard that about dog man, but I have about Bigfoot. Okay. But this thing was digging into an Indian burial mound of all things, Barry. Now, how strange is that?
Well, I guess not very when you can consider that a lot of tribes call them a tribe. And some of
Yeah.
those mounds with the giants that have been found and already excavated from there, which you talked about already, I think, in another show. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of spots there. And, I had posted that map that coincidentally goes along with the map you put up over the ley lines and things. But it was the map that was not just the missing people, but it was the giant skeleton excavations, Bigfoot sightings. Okay, they're like map right along with really haunted places. Like they're just really clusters in every one of those spots. It's interesting. I mean, the maps look almost identical in that way. So food for thought,
Yeah. Yeah, Barry, my computer is kind of frozen up here. Hey, all right, my computer's frozen a little bit. Okay, I don't know if y'all saw that. Probably did. Okay, so I do have some pictures here. Okay, and before we get into the rest of this, okay, this is back in the 1930s. Okay, that area, that area is 45 minutes away from Bray Road. Okay, where that school for exceptional children was, and so 45 minutes away. And let me put up a little map because Elkhorn is not too far from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Okay, so I just wanted to give everybody kind of an idea of where we're talking about. Okay, and yeah, and so and this is the infamous Bray Road. As everybody can see, it's kind of a desolate road with just cornfields on both sides. It looks like there could be a dog man running out of those cornfields to me. But here's another. It just or it reminds me of Barry.
Kind of looks like my home state, to be honest with you.
Does it? Well, you're in Kansas, so yeah. It reminds me of Children of the Corn. Just saying. Yeah. Or Nebraska. I've been in Nebraska. There's a lot of cornfields there. Okay. But anyways, okay. Well, let's get some of the recent sightings. Okay. Some of the recent sightings. Well, no, actually not recent. Let's go back to the 1980s. Actually, let's start there. Okay. Because we did the 1930s and in the 1980s, there were several sightings. Okay. Hold on, let me get all my notes out here. Okay. All right. So there was a young lady who was a bar manager. Okay. She was a bar manager and had gotten off work kind of late at night. And I believe her name was Lori Andreezy. Okay. And she's not the first one in this group that saw it, but Lori Andreezy, she was driving down the road late at night. She just gotten off work. She was on Bray Road. She was driving up and saw something hunched down. She was like driving up from behind it and saw its backside. And there was somebody kneeling on the side of the road. She thought it was a person, like a human. Okay. She slowed down thinking it was a man eating something, but she couldn't tell what it was. It was eating something and realized it wasn't a human because she saw it had pointy ears. Okay. Saw it had pointy ears. This woman actually, this is what she drew right here of what she saw. Okay. It was not a human. Okay. Not a human. It was eating roadkill, she said. Okay. Something was eating roadkill. It looked like it was brownish gray, had about a 45-second encounter. She said it was around 5.5 feet tall, about 150 pounds in weight. It had fangs and it had claws. Okay. So this is kind of what it looked like. All right, and this is another view of it. Okay, so there we go. That's one of the encounters. Okay, there was another lady back in 1991. Her name was Doris Gibson. She was driving down Bray Road, and she said it was a very foggy night. It was on Halloween of all nights, Barry. Halloween, 1991. It was very foggy. She hit an animal with her car. Okay, she thought that she had hit something very large, and she was worried. So she stopped her car and she got out to check to see what it was. Okay. She said, and I watched her in a video, she was actually interviewed on Inside Edition in 1993 or so. She was interviewed on Inside Edition, and she said she was trying to look for whatever she hit, and next thing she knows, she saw a huge, large creature trucking it. Her words were trucking it towards her, coming at her as fast as it could. And so she ran as fast as she could back to her car, jumped in, and peeled off, is what she said. She peeled off, tire screeching and everything, and got the heck out of there. But there was something large. Okay. Now, she never described it as saying like it was a werewolf, but she said it was a big creature. But she would never say what she thought it was. She didn't say anything on air. She said it was just a big creature. All right. So there was another guy named Tom Bricktis. He and his buddy were actually, I don't know if his brother or his friend, they were driving down the road on Route 106, which I don't think that's too far from where Bray Road is. But he said he had seen it twice. He had seen this creature twice. It was a big, scary creature. It made eye contact with him and his passenger, and it sneered at them. Like, yeah, what are y'all going to do about this? You know, he said that it had he thought it was a werewolf. He said it looked like your typical werewolf. And he had 2 sightings of this thing. All right. Now, there was another man named Robert Bushman. Him and his wife were driving through town in Elkhorn. They had never heard any stories about this werewolf. But in 1991, they were passing through town. They saw a big creature that looked like a werewolf. It was unkept fur, super messy, dirty looking, too large to be a wolf, but it looked like a wolf. It was wild, dirty, and scary, very scary. And his wife actually called in she wrote a letter actually to a woman who was doing research on this named Linda Godfrey. Okay. Linda Godfrey, I guess she worked at the newspaper back then, or she was a journalist. And she was taking in all these reports that people were sending in all over the county and the area. And yeah, she actually ended up writing a book about the Beast of Bray Road. She's like the local expert. Okay. She was like the expert on the Beast of Bray Road at some point. She said that there were so many reports coming in, and it was so fantastical that it had to be real. She was like, there's no way this wasn't real. She was a reporter and a cartoonist, by the way. She classified the Beast of Bray Road as an unknown upright canine. Okay. So that's how she classified it. All right. So, Barry, we have a lot of reports, okay, of the Beast of Bray Road. And so I remote viewed it. Okay. So I looked into it. And let me tell you, these people weren't crazy. All right. They were not crazy. The Beast of Bray Road is real. Okay. There was an animal. It's not a dog. All right. It's not a dog. It's not a wolf. I got a lot of data on this actually. And let me pull up my banner. So if anybody would like to have full access to my remote viewing data for this show tonight with the Beast of Bray Road and with all of my other remote viewing targets from all my other shows, you guys join my Patreon and you can have access to all of my data here. This is good. This is actually really good data tonight. Barry, I did send this to you today, this afternoon, and it is posted in my Patreon now. But what I picked up on immediately, this is a dog man. Okay. It's a dog man. It's not a werewolf. It's not a Bigfoot. It's not a wolf. It's a dog man. It's a certain type of dog man that looks like a wolf. Okay. It has a wolf head and like a humanoid body. All right. That's what I picked up a lot. And it's, Yeah, it's never hurt anybody. I picked up that it stays away from humans. It doesn't want to be anywhere near humans. And something else.
Intelligent human or intelligent creature. Sorry. Oh,
It
goodness.
is.
Just
It
like
is.
Bigfoot, very intelligent.
Yes. Well, here's the thing about it. Yeah. Okay. This is an interesting comment. I just saw this as I was about to say this. There are many of them. Okay. It's not one Beast of Bray Road. It's Beasts of Bray Road. All right. There are a lot of them and they're all over that area. Okay. Now I didn't know, I'm not familiar, like, are dogmen and tribes, or families, clans,
Clans
a lot of times I pick up on
or
clans
packs, maybe
with
packs.
Bigfoot. Yeah. Well, actually, I was just
I
messaging.
have heard that they run in packs before. I've heard that, and
Yeah.
it's something more recent. I've heard a few times. So
Yeah. Well, this actually is a solo kind of being, like whatever the ones I was looking at. There were several different dogmen or beasts of Bray Road. Okay. And they were saying that they're all over the region and there's one on Highway 106 or whatever, they're not the same and they're not the same creature. They're all different. Okay. And, but I believe that they're all connected in some way, but there's a lot of them. Okay. They are legion. Okay. So, but yeah, I did get, they stay in the shadows. They are canines. And that's what I didn't watch that video today that of Linda Godfrey. I just found that today, and she was saying they were upright canines, humanoid canines. Well, yeah, I picked up on that. Absolutely. I was picking up that they run from anywhere from about 7 to 9 feet tall. Now, the first lady who saw them back in the 1980s, one of the first ladies, the bar manager, she said that the one she saw, she thought was about 5.5 feet tall. Now, the thing was bent down on its knees. I do believe that it did get up and walk off. She said it was a little bit of a smaller one. Okay. But these things do get up to about 9 feet tall. Okay. And I did, let's see, I do have it's pretty tall.
Okay. So I have a question quick. So you said that you saw like a couple of different types of this clan or whatever? Like there's more
they're all,
than
no,
just one specific type?
they weren't all this different types. They're the same type, actually. I was picking up that they're the same type. And I was picking up that they are more like the canine variant one.
Which one? I'm sorry. Can you please keep going? Because that's the main thing I wanted to ask you. What I picked up off your data, I kept picking up a type 3 variant 2. And that's the one that looks more like the American Werewolf in London. But you got to have to think what that would be like if it actually stood up with that same head configuration. I mean, I'm sorry, quite terrifying there, but that was, not the. Yeah, but is that so? What type? I interrupted you, but I just want to know what type were you seeing? So sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, I was seeing that type 3 variant 2. I would say that if you looked on the bottom row, it was a mix between a canine variant 1 and 3. Okay, it was more like a variant 3 down on the bottom. It looked
like the Van Helsing one.
Yes, that's what it looked like to me. And I actually did draw a picture of it. I'll hold it up so everybody can see. Okay. This is in the middle. Wait, there we go. It's kind of in the middle of my data. So it's just tall. It's got those legs like a dog man. I'll pull up some pictures so you guys can see kind of what I was looking at. Okay. But that was my sketch today.
I always see a lot of times these being called werewolves. But in reality, when you start looking at the dogman reports versus the werewolf reports historically, there's not the mention of them shapeshifting and the human element. It seems to be missing from a lot of the dogman reports. Would you not agree?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
So it cites them differently, although they look like these werewolves. Is that still the same thing as opposed to a werewolf and a shapeshifter, a werewolf and a skinwalker? You know what I mean? I think maybe we're dealing with these different classifications here.
We are.
Where, like, St. Christopher was supposed to be from a tribe of dog-headed priests.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're dealing with here. So, sorry, please keep going.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I was actually messaging with Jesus today, Jesus Payan, who is actually a Bigfoot field researcher and into Dogman as well. And he had mentioned, he asked me, are they in a tribe or a family? Was it a family or a tribe? And I was like, well, do they have tribes? He was like, yes, I do believe so. So, I think that these are one particular type. I don't think that there's a whole lot, like a huge variety of these. I think that they're more like organic types of dogmen that are from the area. I picked up that they do live there, and I was picking up underground, almost like in dens or something. So they absolutely 100% try to stay away from humans at all costs. They don't like being around humans at all. You can hear them howl at night. I was picking up. There's definitely more than one. They are major hunters. They do hunt. They do eat roadkill, but they eat a lot of the smaller to medium-sized animals that are out there. I was picking up on their colors too. I was picking up on like a pewter color, what they are. So, which is kind of odd, but yeah, black hair. A lot of them are black and have glowing red eyes. And they stalk their prey. Like I said, they stay in the shadows 100%. They are, they hide. They do not want anyone to find them. In humanoids, I picked that up ever since Barton Nunnally and I have had discussions. Everything's in humanoid now. Okay. Down in my book, I guess, but they do like eat raccoons and vermin and things like that. I don't know if a raccoon is a vermin, but I was picking up on vermin. So that's like a rat, I think. But they eat a lot of small animals and livestock. So people's livestock has probably been going missing around that area for many, many years. And it is thanks to the dogmen out there. So there's also an alpha male. Like, I don't know if there's just like one alpha male, but I was picking up on the one that people had been seeing on Bray Road is an alpha male. And so that maybe that's why it had been seen more, because it ain't scared. Okay. But yeah, they're super stealthy. They kind of hunt alone. They don't hunt in packs or anything. I didn't pick up on. But yeah, I did ask where. I actually did a deep mind probe of one. I picked up on one. So, and the only thing I asked was, where does it live? I should have asked so much more. I don't know why I didn't think. I was like, where do you live? Because that's what I was wondering. I was trying to figure out that at the time. It said in the grass, the brush, in the hills, and underground is what it told me. So underground.
It lives in your opinion, is this a government connection?
Heck yeah. You saw my data. You know us. Absolutely. Some of the last stuff that I did get was that the agencies, I just got agencies. I can't tell you if that's government or not, but agencies keep tabs on them. Yeah. They know they're there. Somebody knows they're there. Somebody's watching them. So yes. Is it government? Probably. Yeah, probably. That's what I was kind of picking up on. So yeah.
Very interesting chat going on over here. I can't help but keep looking over here at it. And I seem to see a small war going on here.
A war?
Well, just some skeptical comments and things between them all. So it's cool. But I will say, as someone in here mentioned, unless you've experienced something like this, maybe you do have a hard time believing it. Yeah. It's one of those things, like I myself was somewhat skeptical, despite all the stuff that's happened to me contact-wise and earthbound spirit-wise. I was still somewhat skeptical about the existence of Sasquatch until I was invited to speak at that ranch. That changed that.
Yeah, that's right. Until you'll never know. Now, watching that interview of all of the different witnesses on Inside Edition today, you can find that on YouTube, y'all. You can't tell those people they did not see a werewolf or something, and so yeah, it was definitely not. It was not a wolf. Okay, it was like a dog man type creature, 100%.
And when hearing encounters of dogman and Sasquatch, it's even more than the UFO phenomenon or extraterrestrial phenomenon in terms of people. So many people say the same thing. You don't understand. What I saw was not supposed to exist. The only thing I could say is it has to be a movie, but then they know it's not.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Jane Doe, yeah, I am not implying that the government created them. They just monitored them. Somebody that it said I was picking up the agencies monitored them. Okay. And so that is That is what I picked up on. I don't believe these
That's a good
ones are created.
differentiation. Thank you. That's a good
Yeah.
differentiation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Probably tagging them, so to speak, you know.
Yes, in some way. Yes. I mean, I have knowledge that the agencies do track these things, and as well as Bigfoots as well, from what I understand. So, yeah, there's a lot more to this than the general public is aware of, I believe.
It's very alarming. Like, what is it with when talking about, like, even just bringing this up and tying this in with giant skeletons? All this stuff is so skewed, and what the big campaign to keep all that secret and no one know about that. I mean, it's really disconcerting. It's preposterous. It's angering. It really is, you know.
Yeah. Hey, Barry. Sorry. I think my computer's freezing up again.
Mine was earlier all
internet.
of a sudden. Mine
It's
did all of
my
a sudden. It
internet.
started messing up again, so it's doing it right now. But
I think
understand.
everybody in the neighborhood is streaming Netflix right now, and so it's taken over my internet. Yeah. So I apologize, everybody. If I make some weird face and I get frozen, y'all just laugh. Okay, it's fun. Okay, just make fun of me. It's all good. But anyways, yeah. You know, C Duke in chat. She said she's glad they're monitored. Right? It's like, I'm glad. But you know, I mean, I've remote viewed the Beast of LBL, and they were monitored too, and I feel like they were kind of let loose to go eat people. So, you know,
Well,
I don't know, y'all. I don't know, y'all. It's a
you know,
touchy subject.
I think it's almost pretty much when you start really even looking at listening to supposed military whistleblowers who tend to most pop up on things like Dixie Cryptid and places like that. You know, it's fascinating when you start hearing what they say about how they've always tracked these things. Or to be quite honest with you, when you listen to what like the marijuana growers in California, what they say about Sasquatch.
Yeah.
And about how sometimes, you know, they're getting caught in those traps occasionally, or the military. You know, it's very interesting when you start dealing with that and look into that really seriously and not just writing it off because, oh, it's this sect of people, so nothing they say is valid. It's not true. They're talking about indigenous people, one way or another, they live there, telling you what's happening.
I mean, yeah, this is a very, very interesting subject. And now there's also been more recent sightings as well. And I have pictures. There was one fella that actually saw what he thought was the Beast of Bray Road, but it's this picture that I've seen for a while, and I just don't know if I buy it. Okay, because it's a dog that has his leg. It's like the front legs are bones. Let's see if I can find this picture. Here we go. This right here. Okay. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay, so there's a guy named Danny Morgan. In early 2018, this was one of the last sightings. There's two more recent sightings. He said he was driving down Bray Road. He slammed on his brakes to avoid hitting something that was running out from a cornfield on the side of the road. And as it ran out, okay, he snapped a pic. This is the original picture right here. It's hard to tell what that is. Okay, but this, I've seen this, and I mean, to me, it looks like taxidermy gone wrong. I don't know.
It looks like somebody's Eskimo, you know, what's it? Not Eskimo, Alaskan Malamute. It looks like an Alaskan Malamute or something, I guess. Yeah.
Well, but look at the bones in this arm. So maybe it could be like a dog that lost use of its arms and it's like running on its two back legs, or maybe it's just fake. I don't know. It just looks really odd, right? But he took that picture and he claimed he thought that was the Beast of Bray Road, but its bones are like sticking out and stuff. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. Okay, so all right. So, and there was another, the most recent sighting was July 2020. There was a man that saw it in Lyons, Wisconsin. I'm not sure how far that is from Bray Road, but he saw it near a tree line while he was working. He was doing deliveries, I guess, in broad daylight. And then he said he saw it twice. So he saw it 2 times. But yeah, this thing is seen all over. And like I said, it's not just one, it's a whole bunch of them. Okay, so there's several of them. And when I say a whole bunch, I don't mean like 20 or whatever. I was picking up like 5 to 10. Okay, there's like 5 to 10 of these things in this area. All right, that is what I picked up on.
Guess that could be technically a family, a pack.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's you know, after I got done remote viewing this, I was like, it's kind of like there's nothing too exciting about this, right? Because there's like they're not attacking people, they're just dogmen. At this point, I've looked into dogmen so much, I'm like, these are just like good little dogmen out there, you know. They're like, it's just a I don't want to say boring dogman case because it's not. It's still exciting, but they're just there, you know, like they're not harming anybody. They have no intentions of hurting anybody. They're just there. So, you know, you hear stories about how dogmen are demonic and they're so bad. And I did not pick up on that at all with these ones. Okay. So I don't know, Barry, what do you think about that? It's, do you think that some of them are docile and pretty, you know, just wanting to eat roadkill and not want to hurt people?
Well, I mean, you've just got so many different types, and I've become even more fascinated. Something I was saying, I don't know if it's here on Rob's show or wherever it was, but the amount of dog creatures that are coming to light right now, period. You know, not just dog men, but also what they call hellhounds, or, you know, Gabriel's hounds, or the Wahila. You know, these things are coming up quite a bit right now. Or what I had heard, you know, like I think I mentioned with you, it was that the first time I'd heard these really mentioned as being physically being seen by people in terms of not just hauntings, but these dogs with human faces. And the first person I heard really talking about that was back in the late 90s. It was Malachi Martin. And he was saying how they were having a lot of encounters with these dogs with human faces, were tormenting people.
Well, so, I would think that would be a werewolf, though, don't you? Would that be more of a werewolf?
They're kind of described as more of that thing you viewed a couple of weeks ago, the woman with the dog's head.
The wolf woman of Mobile, Alabama, and that actually was a werewolf. That was a Rougarou.
And every time I hear, you know, all these things, even the skinwalker, whatever it might be, is always connected to darkness here. There's this whole negativity, almost evil, this whole dark dog thing. It's really, and I think it's too bad. It definitely doesn't do much for our fellow canine, you know, as far as in the paranormal circles.
Yes, exactly.
And it's interesting because if you think about the way Sasquatch actually reacts to dogs, there's not a good relationship there. And I would kind of think it's because they might tend to give them away. But, you know, it's been seen, documented a lot, how Sasquatch will kill dogs. So it makes you wonder what the relationship with a dog humanoid would be.
Yes.
Is what we're hearing, that when certain tribes say that when Sasquatch warns when dogmen are in the area, then the Sasquatch seem to go to another area, you know.
Yes.
It's like they, during the time they're nomadically moving. I don't know. It's just interesting. You know, I don't know the answer, but all these things you hear when you start listening to encounters and experiences, that's where it's at, you know?
Yeah. And I think to answer your question, I think it's all kind of different. Now, I have spoken with, I have a new friend, Martin Groves. Okay. He's a law enforcement officer. He spoke at the Dogman conference that Josh Turner had with the Paranormal Roundtable up in Tennessee recently. And he gave his account of being at the LBL, the Land Between the Lakes. And he said that he and his friend were chased out of the LBL basically by a pack of dogmen, and they had a connection to Sasquatch. There might have been a Bigfoot there with them, and they were working together in conjunction with each other. And the Sasquatch may or may not have been in charge of the dogmen. Okay, so hopefully I'm going to be bringing him on my show.
Isn't that more of a kind of unusual account? I never heard one like that. That's interesting. You know, I've never heard anything one but antagonism between the two. So that's fascinating. You know.
Well, I think it's all different. I think it's case by case basis, and there's so much weird high strangeness going on at the LBL that nothing surprises me from up there. I think that's a laboratory, Barry. You know, we talk about, is the Earth a laboratory? I think the LBL is somewhat of a laboratory.
things come around to me in threes sometimes. I find it disconcerting that one, we're bringing up Inside Edition, and two is Wisconsin, Milwaukee keeps coming up. And, I just they just released this movie over Jeffrey Dahmer.
I've heard about that.
I've been trying to still come. I did my senior thesis over serial killers back in the 90s, and it was disconcerting because I think the more that comes out, it's like a disease that spreads. But yet I'm wondering what all the concentration all of a sudden in the Milwaukee area. You got dog bed, you got serial killers. I mean, what's
you know what? Maybe there's a
disease, isn't it?
Maybe there's a large hadron collider up there, like there is over in Switzerland and perhaps down here in the South, like the one at Oak Ridge in Tennessee. Maybe one in Georgia. We don't know for sure, but they say that when those things are turned on, it becomes everything just gets all out of whack, and it's a very dark energy in that area. So, I mean, who knows? We don't know. I could look into it though. We could find out.
Yeah,
yeah.
Wow.
Well, Holly, Holly has a question. When I remote view something, can I tell if someone else is remote viewing at the same time? I have had those cases where, yes, when we're learning remote viewing, different modes of it, my team and I were all remote viewing the same thing. And in certain modes of remote viewing, yes, we can. Absolutely. We can all meet up on the other side somewhere, hanging out. Coordinate remote viewing, that's what I do for these shows, like for these targets. I could, but yeah, I probably could. I'm just going to say yes. Okay, I'm just going to say yes.
Question to kind of top on top of what she was asking you. How often have you remote viewed other beings and they turn around and look at you? Like say like what John said happened to him on the moon. The beings turn around, and several people say the beings on the moon turn around, look at you immediately. They're aware. How many times does that happen to you when viewing a target?
And that's basically what Titan was asking in the chat too. Has anything picked up on me? Absolutely. Yes. Things can pick up on you. They picked up on me. I am actually taught to not engage with any lower vibrational entities, and they're pretty much all lower vibrational entities. A lot of them, however you want to define that. But yeah, things do pick up on you. And so it is very dangerous doing some of these targets. And so we have to shield ourselves, protect ourselves and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Especially ETs. Yeah. ETs will pretty much always pick up on you. Okay. So those are great questions.
What do you mean, Jessica? What do you mean, Jessica? What kind of ETs? What do you mean?
I don't know. Whatever kind I've looked at. Okay. So let's move on. So I want to show you guys kind of what I drew. Okay. This is almost the same picture that I drew in my data that Linda Godfrey drew. And I just found this today. Okay. Right before the show, I was going through things that look similar to what I drew when I was remote viewing. Linda Godfrey, the reporter and the cartoonist, who is the expert on the Beast of Bray Road. This is what she drew, according to all the eyewitness reports. So that's her drawing of it. Okay. Now this is kind of more of like what I saw. Okay. A picture kind of similar to that. Okay. When I was viewing this, I do also have some other pictures. This is what I showed on my social media. This is kind of what it looks like. Okay. This is, that's a good representation. So is that. That was when you type in Beast of Bray Road, that picture comes up on search engines.
So this is more a muscular one, not the skinnier one, the more muscular, like the Van Helsing one, right?
Yeah, it was kind of like that. It wasn't super skinny to me. It looked medium build. Okay, compared to some of these other things that I view and have encountered, it looked more medium build. But yeah, it did have a face that looked kind of similar to that. Okay. And, so that is what it looked like. Now
they say that's supposed to be a real picture. That one.
It looks real to me. Yeah. It does look real. I was wondering.
I'll tell you one thing. It doesn't give me the warm fuzzies. That's for damn sure.
My, what big teeth you have. That's what that looks like, straight out of Little Red Riding Hood. Okay. Well, you know, we had talked about the gentleman back in the 1930s who saw this beast digging through an Indian mound. Okay. And so the video that Barry, you brought to my attention that I'd already uploaded here, some still shots of, there was a creature that two women were driving through a cemetery one day. I believe they were on their lunch break at work. And I don't know if they just went through just joyriding or they were visiting a grave site. I'm not sure.
Visiting a site is what I'd heard.
They're visiting a site.
Yeah.
And they had, one of them had their camera on, their camera phone on. I don't know why, but she just had her camera phone on. I guess because they saw something weird. And it looked like a figure was bent over by a mausoleum over a grave, like where the graves are. And it was digging and dirt was flying up all around it. Okay, so here's a still shot. This is when they first pulled in. Okay, you can just see like the mausoleum over there on the side, and there's like a little black dot in the middle. Okay, you can't tell what this is at all right here just by this picture. But they got closer to it, and this is a still shot. Okay, the video is on my Facebook page, my public page, Jessica, or the Cryptid Huntress, if I can remember my name, Jessica, the Cryptid Huntress. Go there. There's a Thinker Thunker video that Barry brought to my attention, and it's about this. Some people said it was a juvenile Sasquatch. I 100% believe this is a dogman, actually, and I do believe this is real. It was digging with its bare hands into a cemetery grave plot.
And, you know, it's a shame on his Patreon channel. He does a very good diagram of that and breaks it down. And you can see its head. It definitely looks much more dog-like than it does a Sasquatch. And not even that type 3 is Sasquatch. It's got appears more of a dog muzzle than even that. So
yeah,
more than a mandrill type of thing. So.
Well, let me show you what it did. This is the damage it did right there. So that's it. Now I can tell you that after talking with Jody Cook, who's the head of the North American Dogman Project, about the Beast of LBL, he sent me a video of this, of the actual video, and this is posted on the North American Dogman's website. All of this information, the videos there, I believe, and definitely still shots are on there. And I believe they believe that was a dogman. I believe it was a dogman. Yeah. And then there's another picture.
It's concerning. What do you think it was doing? Digging for like the grave for what to eat, or to, I mean, or trying to make a den? Because you had in a bunch. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead. You had so much written down in your data. I saw it like two or three times. You had den down there, den, digging and den. That's why I kept thinking, what?
They did.
Fox and them, they all do have dens. It's just so interesting to think a humanoid in that way of doing anything like that. It's just, I don't know, it's mind-boggling, I guess, a bit.
It is. Well, I was picking up that they live underground, that they actually do bore holes in the ground and stuff, I guess. I don't know. Or they go into caves. I just pick up on underground. They live underground. Okay, so yeah, they're underground, but I'm not sure, honestly. I mean, maybe they're trying to get at maybe it was a freshly dug grave. There's a body down there. I mean, I don't know. They put so much weight on those caskets and stuff. Like, I can't imagine it wanting to get into a casket or something. So I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, I could remotely look into it. But honestly, I don't know if I want to know.
But it's very interesting how again and again, regardless if it's government related or not, or ancient Earth, the inner Earth thing keeps coming up. I think that needs to be really looked into much deeper. You know, the facilities in there that are both humanoid and non-humanoid, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I just find it interesting that first sighting, it was digging into an Indian burial mound. You know, like, what's the connection with that? That's my question.
Well, it's interesting. You said that those tend to be 9 feet tall. That's rather extremely tall when taking that in contrast to the giant skeletons that were excavated out of a lot of those. Yeah. Fascinating.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm missing all these super chats. They're going too fast. There's a lot of people in chat tonight. Thank you so much, Margie, for that super sticker. That's really sweet.
Yeah,
And
I wasn't able to keep up with it either. I got dizzy real quick. They're flying by real quick.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And low range overland. Thank you, Craig. That's awesome. You're the best. So thank you too for that super chat. Actually, Craig's on my team. He's one of my teammates, our Bigfoot field research team. So thank you, Craig. Thank you, everybody. Y'all, I'm sorry I'm lagging behind on all the chats because I am. We got a lot of information tonight to unload. So hey to everybody. Thank you all so much for being here. This is a fun topic. It's very interesting. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a classic. Okay, this is one of the classic Dogman stories, and there are out of the top Dogman stories. I can say that this is one of the top three. So we got the LBL, this, and then there was that siege at Lockett Ranch. But I got to tell you, I looked into that. I'm not so sure about that one, but this one's real for sure. Not saying the siege at Lockett Ranch isn't real, but I'm just saying there's something off about that one. This is real, and the LBL was absolutely real. Okay, for sure. And that's all I'm going to say. Y'all don't come at me. Don't come at me. So yeah. But
sorry. Somebody said something that made me laugh. I apologize.
Okay.
I should have seen that comment. It's a pretty good sense of humor going on over here.
I can't keep up with the comments tonight, Barry.
If a dog man ate a meth head's.
Oh, I saw that.
Anyway, little levity is good, but
Yeah.
I also do wonder, how much of these different species of dog men we're seeing are related to some type of it, bioengineering or back engineering, and I've heard some really, really crazy things. All right. Well, not crazy, just far out things. All right.
Uh-huh.
And one of them would be, there's a well-known whistleblower that I did a conference with years ago, and this gentleman talked me to death quite a bit privately. All right. So we exchanged a lot of information.
Yeah.
And he had claimed to met all these different extraterrestrials and other things while in the government. So I asked, what's up with the dog man? What do you think about that? And he kept saying that as there's technically a galactic species that specialize as being more like bounty hunters of trading body parts and things.
Yeah.
And it was so bizarre when he says this, and he's tracing that all the way back to them biblically being seen and stuff like that and going back further. And when you start looking at kind of even Egyptian-wise things like Anubis, Anubis wasn't fully a dog. That's a slightly different being, wasn't it? Look at Anubis. There's like almost feline qualities within that too. So I don't think those are dog men. I think those are something different.
He looked like a Zolo. I think they're called Zolos. It's like a Mexican breed of dog, very ancient. So they do kind of look cat-like, like a hairless cat, but they're hairless dogs.
Now, bringing that up, okay, and I'll throw this in real quick, a personal encounter I had, and I had mentioned it with Rob, because he had seen dogs similar to this. I had an encounter one night with something some years ago in the middle of the city that to me looked like a very big, what you just called that dog, Mexican hairless dog.
Yeah.
But it was the size, just almost a little bit bigger than a Doberman Pinscher, not quite Great Dane size. It was very big, and it definitely was not suffering from mange. This dog was muscular. It was in great shape.
Yeah.
And it looked at me on this bridge, and I was worried it was going to come on the bridge. It was big.
Yeah.
And the way the light was hitting its eyes, I can say it was eye shine from reflection, but I don't know. But it was a very odd encounter. So, and when dealing with skinwalkers and things like Anubis and these different hairless dogs, I think it's fascinating.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's food for thought. Now, Barry, we could actually take this over to the next hour and do another 30 minutes if you'd like.
Oh,
or
wow.
we cut off. Yeah, it's been that long. I mean, we could talk some more about skinwalkers a little bit and the dog man the dog that you encountered. So right now we have to say goodbye to our iHeart and Odyssey radio listeners, but we're going to take about a 5-minute break. So I hope you guys will stick with us for a few minutes, and we'll be right back. We're gonna continue talking about the Beast of Bray Road. Okay, so y'all don't miss it, and we will be right back. All right, so y'all don't go anywhere.
4 minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. Three minutes. We're almost there. Two-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Hey, y'all, welcome back. I'm still trying to catch up with all the comments tonight in the chat. You guys are off the chain. Thank y'all for all the love. I really do appreciate it. And everybody at Texas Front Porch appreciates that. You guys are the best. So yeah, let me bring Barry back up. Amy, thank you for that super sticker. You are just the sweetest. Thank you for all your support. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Now, Barry, we were just talking about your experience with a very odd dog that you ran into when you were out walking late at night. And it sounded to me kind of like the Zolo out of Mexico, I believe, which some people relate that to Anubis.
That, interesting. That's as close as anything I can describe it as being, but it was bigger than one of those dogs should be or is. You know what I mean? So that way it's fascinating, and it's one of those things that kind of stops your world when you encounter it. And that's what a lot of these quote unquote cryptids do. Sometimes they do something with your consciousness just to see one, whether it's a Sasquatch or anything. So many people say that when they see one, when it actually does something to you. So I think that's fascinating, but so many often, we have the art of shape-shifting that truly has existed in several cultures, and it has to be acknowledged. And we have individuals that still have that ability walking around, especially those that can manipulate the dream body, the energy body, and transfer their cognitive abilities into that body. Yeah,
We do.
There you go.
We do. And, I might have told the story once or twice about being out camping with some friends and hanging out with a couple of elders of a particular tribe down here in the South. And one of the gentlemen told me, we were all bonding. We were having a really good time and watching the sky ships over Cashers, up in North Carolina. And we had some Bigfoot activity. We'd been out to Judicola Rock that weekend, and it was just a magical weekend. And one of the gentlemen was telling me, I can turn you into a skinwalker.
You can what? Sorry,
he could turn me into a skinwalker if I wanted. I don't want to. Let me get that straight. Okay. I don't want to, but he said, but he was like, I can, and I'm not sure exactly what that entailed. I didn't ask. And I dropped that really quick because I didn't know what a skinwalker was at the time. I wasn't even sure, but it didn't sound very good. So, but there are people that are able to, like shamans, medicine men, who are able to do that. Yeah. It costs you your soul, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready to turn my soul in for, a few nights of walking through walls. No, thank you. I'm good. Because what do skinwalkers do, Barry? I mean, I know that you've studied skinwalkers. What exactly is a skinwalker?
Well, I've heard some interesting stories about, like, near rivers, when they start seeing these strange dogs and things there near rivers, you'll find clothes folded up, like somebody's coming back to them, which would be implying that shape-shifting activity. Very interesting. And I heard that Navajo too, I think, was saying that too. So this is fascinating, but as far as I know, everything I've seen is that technically they're witches. All right. I've seen nothing but negativity accounted, attached to them. The first time I ever heard the word skinwalker was on a TV show called Werewolf in 1986. It's one of the first shows to come out on Fox, along with Married with Children and the Tracy Ullman show at 21 Jump Street. But anyway, interestingly enough, the werewolves on that cheesy show look somewhat similar to definitely Dogmen, with the hunches in their backs. And, as much, even more than the Howling did. So, it's just interesting, but they kept calling them at one point. They introduced on that show the Navajo Reservation and skinwalkers. That's the first time I had heard that technical term. So fascinating,
Yeah,
somebody asked if you've ever viewed the Skinwalker Ranch. Have you?
I have not. Well, here's the thing, though. My team, the places that we research rival that of Skinwalker Ranch. Okay, so yes, I have remote viewed the Skinwalker Ranch of the South. Okay, there are places like that all over. Okay, and my team actually has just picked up on at least 2 or 3 of those that we research regularly. I might be going there soon, actually. I'm just saying.
Wow, cool.
But yeah, we do a lot of research there, and yes, I have remote viewed some of that. And actually, the head of my team, that I'm doing all these shows with remote viewing, and I can't get away with not remote viewing all of the crazy events we've had with our team as far as they go. And so I got a list the other day. The head of my team sent me a long list of things to remote view. So I got to do it. So we'll be back in touch. I'll get back with y'all on that.
Question. Now, do you feel that this place, this Skinwalker Ranch of your place, is that government connected to?
My feeling is yes. Yes. Let me stop myself. Hold on. Yes. Yes.
I had
something that was not good.
I did a couple interviews with somebody I spoke with years ago named Erica Lukes, and Erica had advanced interactions with Skinwalker Ranch. She spent a lot of time out there, and I think was She knew the people out there really good too. And overall, the last show I had done with her, I was getting her to kind of say that she thought that really ultimately that was a testing ground for not just governmental, but some other forces that are doing a certain testing of certain things in that area. It was very interesting, you know. It's just interesting when you talk to people who have actually spent a lot of time out there and studied it. So who knows, you know, I'm interested if your place is similar. So anyway, sorry, back to Dogman.
No, well, you know, we've never experienced Dogman on the places that we research, which is interesting because we have such high strangeness out there. There's a lot of Bigfoot activity where we go, a lot of UFOs, a lot of ETs activity, orbs, you know, a lot of trickster spirits. And we do SD sessions sometimes when we're out at some of these particular spots.
What's that? What session?
SD sessions. That's where you put on, basically put on a blindfold, okay, or something over your eyes, and you put on noise canceling headphones, something to, you put on the headphones, and somebody will sit there with one of those, what do you call them? It's a ghost box, an ITC device. Okay, and so like we're asking questions or whatever. Oh, the headphones are connected to the ITC device. Okay. So I'm trying to get it all straight here. So the headphones are connected to the ITC device. So anything that comes through, the person with the headphones and the blindfold on, they say whatever they hear. Okay. So like they're just blurting things out like they have like Tourette syndrome or something. It's just like, you know, no, you know, log cabin. I mean, it's just whatever random stuff comes out. It's just they blurt it out. And so there's one person that'll be sitting across from them asking questions to the spirits or whatever's around us. So they'll be like, well, you know, are we going to have paranormal activity here tonight? Can you tell us? And then the person, they can't hear what the question that you're asking. Let's call them the channel. Okay, so the channel, the person who's acting as the channel, they can't hear the questions, but they can hear what's coming through the box because it's in their headphones. So whatever the words they hear come out, they just say them. And so basically you're getting answers to the questions that you ask through a channel who has no idea what that question was. I hope I described that right. I hope I explained that right.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
It's called the SC session. Yeah. And there are other forms of that. Like my friend, Matt Williamson, Matt Williamson, Supernatural Spectrum, he has a way of doing it where he's done a little bit of tweaking with the goggles that you wear, and he puts lights in them, and it really activates your pineal gland as you're doing it. And you know, there's different forms of it. So people are getting crafty with this now, and activating your pineal gland and third eye and all this kind of stuff now. So, but it can be also very dangerous because you're interacting with spirits and things from other realms, and we don't know how that is affecting us 100%. This is all kind of new, in my opinion. So we have to be very careful with that. But yeah, like I was saying, we don't have dogmen in a lot of the places that we go. Now there's a new spot that we're going to. There could be a dogman. There could be dogmen down there. Okay, and yeah, so that's why it's pretty dangerous. You know, going out and do a Bigfoot field research is not. It's not safe. Okay. A lot of times. So, but yeah, we don't have a ton of dogmen usually at these Skinwalker Ranch of the South that we research, you know, but yeah, I have remote viewed some of that stuff. The team has, but yeah, I don't know. What do y'all want to know? Cause I can't tell you everything. I can tell you a little bit though. So, yeah, I guess I need to let me get back in the chat too. I am so sorry, y'all. You guys are awesome.
It's hard to keep up. It's going really
so
fast.
hard. There's so many people in here tonight. I know. I'm so excited. This has been a great show. So
that's really nice though.
Yeah.
Considering we've done a few of these now, and I've only been aware of this, we could actually see things for about the last 2 shows. So
the chat. See, everybody, Barry didn't know that there was a live chat, so he knew it, but he couldn't see it. So now he can see it. So it's super exciting for Barry now, right, Barry? Yeah.
Try to miss the carrots that are getting thrown. Miss those carrots. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's interesting about those places. And I think that what I'm seeing being emphasized so much more, I just saw Ancient Aliens today. They had a marathon. It was about black holes.
Yeah.
And more than that, can black holes exist on Earth, which would be micro black holes, wormholes.
Yeah.
And, that's the whole
think
portal
so.
thing. And that's never been acknowledged before by science or anything. But now they're discovering different ways to make black holes and things. And it's really fascinating. We start looking at in the connected to portals themselves. The portals like your team saw compared to the type of portals like Tom Powell and other had talked about they'd seen that were this shimmering light in the forest and how you're supposed to stay away from it. You go in there and disappear, walk into that and disappear.
Well, a lot of it you can't see. I mean, I believe, and I think that's where a lot of these missing people are going. Okay. The one that my teammates walked into and disappeared into, that was not able to be seen with the naked eye. Okay. And there was no shimmer. There was nothing. Okay. So not everything's going to be a shimmer, everybody. Y'all got to understand, like this, it's just, there's nothing. You
did you see it on infrared? How did you actually detect it? I can't remember. You told me about
the team saw it on their FLIR and their thermals. Okay. They could see it. It was there was a heat difference. Okay. It actually showed up as, I believe it was cold at first. Okay. So, but there was it was just a difference in temperature in the environment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And it was a big cube, a big square. Barry, we've done shows for a month. I mean, I've been doing shows for over a year now. And I think you and I have talked about the black cube pretty extensively in the past. I mean, it's been a year probably, but that I brought you on my show the first time ever when I was at another network over at KGRA, and we talked about the black cube.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's a fascinating subject, actually. And I think that's where if this is government related, let's just put it out there, because I don't know for sure. What if it is, and they do have dogmen, werewolves, Bigfoots at these underground facilities, and they're living underground. They live underground. Are they coming out through these portals? Are they beaming them up through these portals or something from underground and letting them loose into these parks and stuff? I don't know.
I've heard several times now from several different accounts, experiencers, whatever we'll call them, about these things that they were calling nightmare sheds. Like these sheds, these houses that look like either messed up farms or just messed up big houses, like condemned almost, and how they're often dogmen outside of these things, like guarding them, and how these are really, what do they call them? Dumbs? The
deep underground military bases. Yeah.
But their covering is these sheds and these messed up houses.
That would make sense.
They're these dumbs. But so often I've heard about dog people or dog creatures guarding these things, and almost on chains, even being like chained out there sometimes. It's guard dogs.
Oh
and
my gosh!
Maybe sometimes the human faces dogs too. I mean, that's when this whole thing starts getting really, really creepy to me.
Okay,
but it is what it is.
I just made another connection. Okay, sorry. What about? No, don't be sorry. What about the connection of the Bigfoots and Sasquatches guarding mines, gold mines? What if they're there because they're like contracted to do it, or they're like they have to do it?
No, the first time I ever heard that was concerning Solomon's mines. Mm-hmm. It's the first time I'd ever heard them guarding gold or any type of a hominid creature doing that. And I find that fascinating. That's when I started looking even more into Lord Hanuman from Hindu religion and the scriptures there, who was different because he was supposed to be connected to a species called the Vinara, but they're illustrated as being more monkey-like with tails. But the reason why I was so interested in Lord Hanuman is because he's from that era where you've got a lot of these species that were here that were 25 feet taller or more. These beings that were described as that, and just the giants that existed here in the past. And Lord Hanuman kind of connects to that. So I was just interesting. There's this footprint, these footprints over in India, and they say it's Lord Hanuman's footprint. And supposedly at night in this remote era, area, there's been these Venara, these Sasquatch type creatures, but they have tails, worshiping this foot. And then you have a ceremony there. I found that fascinating. You know what I mean? It's stuff to just worthy of looking into. What is the connection there when we have these different species, especially when we talk about these different beings that have come here from elsewhere and done genetic whatever. Anyway, food for thought again.
Who knows? I mean, I think that there is a connection with some of the dogmen and these dumb deep underground bases. Now, there are people that will disagree with me on that. Like Nick Valente does not believe that at all. And I did several shows with Nick the past couple of weeks, and it's okay for us to all disagree, because I mean, I don't know for sure. I can tell you what I've remote viewed, what my data says, but I've never experienced this firsthand. So, other than remote viewing it. But there's also
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there's also and he does have ties with law enforcement and things like that. But I've also heard the opposite from people that have military backgrounds too. So everybody's got their opinions on it. Let's just put it that way. Everybody's got their opinions.
Just for a joke, the first time I heard the term hellhound, it was on that Lost Boys movie. The
Lost Boys.
It was Ford. That white shepherd was guarding the leader's house, chased that woman over the fence. But that's the first time I had become really accustomed to the term "quote unquote" hellhound.
Yeah.
But now I've think so much about them, and I think that shouldn't be confused either with, like you were talking about when you're talking about those animal attacks. These groups of dogs that have been doing that. To me, that just brought, sometimes Spirit will use entertainment movies as reference for me, because I remember everything But there's that movie Wolfen from the 1980s, and it's like starring Albert Finney. I think it was 1981 or 2, but it's about these dogs attacking people in the inner city, and like these wolves, and it was supposed to be the spirit of the wolf, and that kind of ties into Wahila. It's very fascinating. I don't know where this begins and ends, but
it never ends. It never ends. That's why we have plenty of shows ahead of us, because this never ends, Barry. It doesn't. And but it's super exciting and weird. And I just want everybody to be aware of like what's out there, because it's so dangerous when we're out there in the field doing research, especially. The key is knowing what you're dealing with. Okay. And we have no clue what we're dealing with out there, but at least through doing shows like this and being able to remote view this stuff, like we can kind of get some answers. Okay. Especially with the Beast of Bray Road. Now, I did not pick up at all that these things were violent against humans.
I just saw an interesting comment. I should have been looking right where you're talking. I'm sorry, but
it's okay.
The person's called Primal Cry.
Okay.
And it says, Jessica, the dogmen often guard native burial sites.
I did.
I find that a fascinating comment. Can we know more about that? Can we get some links or something?
Well, I think what he asked me, he was asking if they do. And I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But that one, the Beast of Bray Road was seen or something like it, which I'm assuming it was from that tribe or that family. In the 1930s, there was one digging into an Indian burial mound that man named Mark saw, 1936, at the School for Exceptional Children. So yeah, maybe I don't know if they guard him. It sounded like that one was trying to get inside of one. Now, maybe there's something more to Indian burial mounds. Just saying. I don't know. What do you think, Barry?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I mean, because to me, I've always more associated the Sasquatch and even mountain giants with the Indian mountain mounds. I've never really associated with dogman. So that's taken into another area for me, but I don't know. It's very odd. But then again, I haven't heard quite of dogmen being 9-10 feet tall, like you just described. That's a little taller than what I thought. I've heard more around 8 feet or something like that.
7 to 9. It was 7 to 9. Yeah. It was 7 to 9. However, the lady from the 80s, I think, or 1990s. She said that it was around 5.5 feet tall. So that was a short one. It might have been a juvenile, but like I said, there's more than one. There's a whole bunch of them out there. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. They're still.
Hold on, I'm gonna write that down. Something just came across the deal here. I've never heard of that before, so I'm gonna look that up. Thank you.
All right. I'm sorry, y'all. My internet just does not want to stay going on tonight. So I keep freezing up. But Barry, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I was gonna say that picture of the dog with the bone arms. I just can't. I cannot wrap my head around that being the Beast of Bray Road. Okay, so
Yeah, you see, flash that up. Thank you. From Primal Cry. Barry was known as the, I don't know how to pronounce the word, Ojibwe culture. I just wrote the word down. I'll look it up. Thank you very much. I never heard of that word, so I'll look it up. Thank you.
yeah, yes, okay. Titan, yes. Send me. You guys can send requests for the show. Like I've already got a list. Okay, and y'all know I have a long list, and Barry and I have been talking about a couple of things to remote view before October's over that are kind of creepy stuff like.
Oh, you did freeze up that time.
All right, this is getting ridiculous. I'm freezing up so much.
Yeah, you're back now. I'm seeing you now.
I don't know what's going on, y'all. This is not normal. But anyways, yeah. You can't send me requests. Send it to go to my website, thecryptidhuntress.com. Shoot me a message and give me some requests. Or put them here. I take note. All right.
And this stuff is going so fast. But somebody just mentioned. Sorry, I don't know who it was, and I can't go back. I get all confused. But they mentioned the dogmen that were part of the Vietnam War. They were a part of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not Vietnam War in Vietnam.
In Vietnam, they had the ape.
They were
the
soldiers.
Ape in there
these dog creatures that were these soldiers. I know
that
what they're
was in
talking
World
about.
War II as well, right? I hear there were werewolf Nazi soldiers too. So.
Not as sure an expert on it, but I have seen that before, and that's fascinating. And I think maybe they know that was supposed to be maybe a government project of some type, right?
Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be. I don't know.
Or some
Who knows?
some governmental. Anyway, sorry. I just find this stuff very interesting, and the stuff that's coming up is very, very cool. So.
Yeah, the rock apes. Yes, brown dwarfs. That's absolutely right. I actually met a gentleman who was friends with my mom and my grandmother, and we it was at my grandmother's my sister's birthday party. Okay, and I went and I sat down by this gentleman that was there, and he and I started talking, and it just turns out that he was in Vietnam. And he'd just written a book about remote viewing, and I was like, well, I'm a remote viewer. And it was just so coincidental, sitting by this guy. And he started telling me, he found out I was a Bigfoot field researcher, and he started telling me about his experience in Vietnam. He was a young man, and he was there, and he said that they were getting rocks thrown at them while they were out there. I mean, they were in the middle of the jungle. And these things would like fly, like it looked like monkeys, but they were like monkey men would like jump over their heads and all this weird stuff. Yeah, monkey men. In addition to being shot at and having to fear for your life every day and fight, they had monkey men, the rock ape men, or I think is what they called them.
See, that ties
he had firsthand experience of it though, and he told me about it.
See, that ties into that's right. The rock apes and all that they're described more as monkey-like. That ties us more into like those Vanara from India that I was talking about with the tails. They're more monkey-like. That's fascinating. Like I said, again, we don't know where all this begins and ends, but definitely fascinating.
Oh man, Titan! I did remote view the moon, and I had to back off of that one. That's a no-go. So you can watch my remote viewing of the Apollo 11. I was sweating bullets that whole show. So yeah, you can go back and watch that one.
Can you say why? Why you backed
Apollo
off?
11 move. Well, I kind of had to. I was actually contacted before that show and asked to be careful what I said by some. There were higher ups watching, is what I was told, and I have to be very careful. You know, I do this for fun, y'all. I don't do this like I'm not like here getting paid. You know, like to be like, oh, this is my job. I'm doing this for fun because I like it. But there's a real threat sometimes with things like remote viewing targets that are off limits. And I kind of crossed the line on that one, apparently. So I will not be remote viewing the moon.
And hey, just how serious, just to touch on this real quick, because you contacted me after this happened.
Mm-hmm.
You were distraught, and I know how serious it is because on my YouTube channel there is a video that I did with John Vivinco, the remote viewer, and John Vivinco had told me before, and I him to talk a little bit about when he was working, even after he worked with the government for a while, but after that he started his own thing. But when he started remote viewing the moon, he got a visit and told to not do it anymore. And, you know, this all ties back to Ingo Swann, too, how he's one of the first people to look at that. And each remote viewer I've talked to that said they looked at the moon, including John, said the beings looked back at him and were on him, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a whole other thing going on. It has to be left alone, apparently. And, hey, I'm cool with that, you know.
Well, you know, I have a life going on, and I don't need the extra stress right now.
It's serious, you know, it's very serious.
And I said it, and like I said, as soon as this quits being fun, I'm going to quit doing it. I won't do it anymore. But right now it's fun. I'm having a really good time. So, you know, it's okay. It was a gentle reminder. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, I will not be remote viewing that again, not publicly, at least. But yeah, I would love to look into all this other stuff. So you guys send me requests as long as it's not the moon. I'll do it. I'll look into it. You know, I actually would like to do some like vampires and stuff that I haven't done before. I'd like to touch on stuff that I've not remote viewed before, just to have like a variety of things. Like we talked about that ghost ship, Barry. Maybe doing that this month.
Oh, the ghost ships, yeah. Or the Phantom Islands. The Phantom Islands are really interesting too. Yeah, like High Brazil and those ones.
I mean, I think that's a great idea. High Brazil, that's something that I would love to look into.
You know, I have a theory, and I'll just let it out now. So when you do it, we'll see how it goes, if it correlates. Okay, I think that those are, you know, every 7 years, High Brazil is supposed to appear. And when it disappears, there's this other Phantom Island that appears. And I think that these are inner Earth ships that come up and have to recharge their solar cells, the solar magnetically crystals that power that stuff. I think they have to come up every so many years and power their solar power, their solar charge themselves. That's my theory. So I want to see what you come up with when you look at those. It'll be fascinating.
I would love to do that. Well,
first, of course, is do they exist, or is it just a King Kong myth? King Kong's thing was like that too, because every time High Brazil will appear, there's this mist around it. And that's the same type of a mist I mentioned about a conversion process between orgone, life energy, and these craft, what they do. Same thing. So another reason I think that's what that is. So anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Titan, I have not remote viewed the Tunguska. I don't even know what that is. So I promise you I will look into it though. It says it was everything from a meteor to a spaceship to antimatter. That sounds crazy. I would love to look into that. That's another one. There was also an airplane that disappeared back in the 1950s or 60s, and it showed back up 30 years later, and there were a bunch of skeletons on board, allegedly. So that's something else I'd like to look into.
You know what it is? It got caught in the vortex. One of those either
Maybe.
Bermuda Triangle or the Devil's Triangle. We have all these triangles on this planet that these vortex when things sleep into it, you know, and then it's very interesting, isn't it?
Very interesting. Okay, so Jean, yes, I have plans on October 28th. Tanya Braddock and I will be remote viewing the Salem witch trials as a whole. And we're going to, I have not made that out. This is my official announcement tonight. Tanya and I both have ties to the Salem witch trials. We feel a very big connection to that. So we will both be remote viewing separate instances, like of incidents part of the trials, and then we're going to remote view it as a whole together. And it's going to be a big show. So you guys please tune in. It's October 28th, that Friday night. We're going to have a major Salem Witch Trials remote viewing episode. And it's going to be amazing. So y'all please tune in to that. Yeah, you don't want to miss that one. It'll be a good one.
I liked it when witches still looked like Elizabeth Montgomery and wiggled their nose. What happened to those witches? Sorry. Just kidding.
Yeah, I know. She was a cutie, right? Cutie. Well, the Salem Witch Trials were not pretty at all. So, and I there are people that think, well, it was just a matter of people being sick and having something wrong mentally with them and all stuff. I don't know. There was a whole bunch of persecution going on, and a lot of people died. Okay, so a lot of people died, and I think the things that I'm doing, even the things that I do today, like remote viewing. I mean, I would have been seen as a witch back then. Being able to look into things like this, and
you know what?
I mean, if you had a mole on your face, you were a witch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Since we're at like after hours now, right? So I just ask. So
it's after hours. That's right.
So we'd have to stay strictly on Dogman. Hey, do you think this word has come up for me several days, and it came up tonight? Do you think vampires are real outside of the people that are absolute fanaticists? Besides
yes, I do.
that?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I haven't announced this either. Next Wednesday, I will be doing a show on that. Actually, Wednesday afternoon. Everything we're talking about. Yes, I'm doing a show on that. Yes, Wednesday with Dennis Carroll. Actually, he's actually experienced vampires in real life. He's a demonologist, and we're going to be talking about that on Wednesday at 12 p.m. noon Eastern time. Wednesday. You guys tune in to A Glitch in the Matrix. That's my new daytime show.
And these are ones that actually drink blood opposed to the energy vampires we're familiar with.
Yeah.
Cool. That'll be fascinating.
Yeah, there's a lot of different vampires, energy vampires. You got to learn to protect yourself from things like that. We all do. But okay, I think actually what I've titled the show is Bloodsuckers, Creatures of the Night. Okay, because I know that he really wants to talk about vampires, and I do too. But I also want to touch on werewolves and things like that, because a lot of these dogmen and these even werewolves that I'm remote viewing, they are bloodthirsty. And they are going for blood, adrenalized blood. Okay. Now, the Beast of Bray Road is not. I did not pick up on that as far as humans go. But I did pick up that the Beast of LBL, those dogmen out there were going for adrenalized blood.
See, there we go again. When it comes to the dark aspect of this, the evil, dark aspect, blood has always been used by demon for manifestation. Always.
Blood does. Blood manifests. That's right.
Yeah. More disconcerting things. What is it about the human hemoglobin that,
It's the adrenaline, and it's what they call adrenochrome. That's
what interesting comment. It just popped up there. Yeah. Oh my. How about Mount Adams? Seen many ships coming in and out of it. From Renee. I spoke there in 2016, it's the first conference I went to, then 2017, and then in 2019, I was invited back again to speak. And I saw many ships go in and out of that mountain. Had Sasquatch activity out there. I saw on the other side of Mount Adams there is a thing called Sleeping Lady. Looks like it's a woman laying down. I had a situation where at night in the Pleiadian Circle, we were standing over there 2:00 in the morning, seeing a craft go over towards that and go down, start morphing, and then being able to a degree, see through the top of this mountain. This the Cat's Peak is what James Gillian called it. Quite experiences I had out there. So I'm glad you got to go out there. And one other thing, just while we're talking about it, there is like a device inside that mountain that scans people's like soul life memories, this soul, and then it dispatches some type of an orb. Orbs are seen out there a lot. That gets in your biofield and pushes your perception forward, gives you some type of an experience. Think about the amount of people out there that say, "Oh, I saw a Sasquatch walking in the field of dreams out there and it disappeared. Or that big flash of light people see over the mountain, or that little pinpoint of light that is that portal you can see in the middle that comes on at night that they can't quite describe as a light, as a camp light. That's a fascinating place. Very sacred land that seemed like the third day you're out there, it brings stuff up like for you to deal with your trauma, and it really helps you heal.
So a healing place. That's interesting. Titan, thank you so much for that super chat. You are so appreciated. Thank you. We appreciate that. And Barry, you are wonderful. So
thank you. So are you. And so are all your audience. Really nice people. And I'm honored to be here each time. So,
well, thank you. You know, that actually talking about, is it Mount Adams, right? That reminds me of what a show I did with Jesus Payan, who's in the chat tonight. Jesus and I talked about the hidden history and deceptive timelines that we have in the United States. And a lot of that involves the Tartarian Empire. Okay, some say it's not real. I believe it is real. I think there was a Tartarian Empire, and they had buildings all over the world that were sources of energy healing and were very healing for humans. And they were, power points of free energy and things like that. My mind has been so blown, Barry, over the past week or two studying this stuff. There's a reason all that was destroyed, over the years.
If you look at how that was supposedly orchestrated compared to Tesla's map for the free energy, free towers, it's quite similar.
That's all it is. That's exactly what it is. It's
you see,
Tesla.
they stuffed them out real quick.
Yeah. You know what? Strangeland, I'm a little worried about doing remote viewing on hidden secret organizations and stuff, like secret societies. That's kind of off limits. I don't want to touch that. I'm good. I don't know about that one. But thank you for the suggestion. I do appreciate it. And I did see my friend Matthew Delphin here somewhere.
Delph! Michael!
I just saw Delph.
I like that cat. Oh, yeah. That's somebody that flabbergasted me. He's a great guy. I like him.
Matt, I see you in here. I just can't find you now. I'm so sorry.
Sasquatch. He's the one person that, a few people that actually confirmed Sasquatch and witch knots. And you know what kind of heat I took from people when I mentioned the witch knots and the Sasquatch? People got mad at me. I don't even have any horses. It wasn't me. This is the people that own this and have this activity.
Look, we're at after hours. Do you want to mention what that is? But be gentle with it, okay?
Okay. People may not know. I showed you some pictures of somebody that was at the conference where I met you.
Be gentle. Like we got to be careful. We got to give the elementary version of it and don't get into detail. But what are witch knots, Barry?
You want me to do it?
Sure. You want me to do it? It's so bad. Okay.
All right. This is okay. This is
maybe we shouldn't. I don't know.
You trip me out now. Seriously. Okay. This is horses have these things that look similar to wind knots, but they're much more intricate. They look much more like almost
like when your hair gets
like a Jamaican type of a tie. They're really these intricate locks on these horses, okay?
Yes.
And what is said is that the juvenile Sasquatches are sometimes denied sexuality by the alpha, or they're becoming of age and they start assaulting these horses. And what they do while they're assaulting them is they braid their hair. Yeah. And it makes the horses act a certain way and all sorts of stuff. And when I first mentioned this, I got just mugged by people getting mad at me. It's not my idea. I didn't have nothing to do with it. But, when I talk to people like Tom Powell and other people, this starts getting confirmed. And Matthew, during his presentation at that conference, which was excellent, I asked him that question. And he started talking also about some deals with Sasquatch smashing either, I don't know if he said boars or cows, what it was against trees. Mm-hmm. And, the only other person I had heard talk about that was Ray Crow before he died. And people got really mad at him when he was talking about some of the ways that Sasquatch was killing horses and cows and other things. So it's just real cool. I just want to give him a shout out. So, and also somebody else, thank you to the Brown Dwarf. I've been looking at his channel. He's got some great stuff on there.
Brown Dwarf is the best, man. Cool. Yes. What's up, Brown Dwarf? He's in the chat.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, you guys, I'm getting all of your suggestions for remote viewing. I'm going to go back and write all of these down. They're all going to go on my list, and we're going to pick out some good ones for the next couple of weeks. And but I do have the Salem Witch Trials at the very end of the month on Halloween weekend. But yeah, I mean, it's endless. The possibilities of remote viewing are endless, and it is worth looking into. And I did see the pyramids on here. A couple of pyramids. Tanya and I actually did look into the Black Pyramid up in Alaska, so that's a good one. That was on my show. I did actually remote view the Mandela Effect already. I did that. I actually have an episode on that one, New England Dirt Roadie. So go look into that. I got really upset when I saw that Chick-fil-A had changed the spelling of their name. And I had to look into it. I was like, this is.
I try not to laugh, but gosh,
it was not CHICK. It was CHIK, and I got really upset about that. So I looked into those, and we went down the rabbit hole on the Mandela Effect. So,
God, there's so many of those that are really weird.
Yeah, there's a lot of really crazy ones.
My sister had even caught one that I didn't know about. It was concerning the Flintstones, but these.
What is that?
We're just talking one day. My sister remembers all stuff from like when she was young. Very great detail. And she said how she started hating the Flintstones, didn't watch it anymore because Barney Rubble, there was a bomb, and this bomb blew up in his face and his eyes were dangling. And then after that, he didn't have eyes anymore. He just had these slits. And I was sitting there with my brothers, and they said, we don't remember that. They're all much older than me, but he said, we don't remember that. I saw most of the Flintstones. I don't remember that either. But then I started pulling it up on the internet, looking at him, and he has circles for eyes the first couple of seasons. Then they start turning into slits. And the reason Hanna-Barbera gave was kind of weak. And it makes you wonder, another one of those time skips, a time edit, just like Hurricane Aaron in Manhattan during 9/11. You know what I mean? That people can't seem to remember either.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So, Josh Turner's in the chat. I don't mean to interrupt you. He says that Bigfoot does not do anything wrong, that we're crazy, but he knows better. He knows better.
Does that include the gugweed? I'm just kidding.
I know. No, Josh is kidding. Josh is kidding. Thank you for being in here, Josh. You're awesome. I appreciate you. Josh is with Paranormal Roundtable. So as most people know. But
I'll say again, I still don't think the gugweed and the type 3s are natural to the Bigfoot community. I think that there's something that's been introduced. Honestly, I think they're more monsters, my opinion.
Like genetically modified Sasquatch.
And I think they've been introduced to really discredit the Bigfoot the Sasquatch community, and to make humanity fear them. I don't. If you look back how far back the Gugwees and those appeared before the Stone Giants or around the Stone Giant time, you don't hear. It's just very interesting to me. I don't think they're natural.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right. Absolutely, they are some sort of mutated Sasquatch species. I completely agree with you. Yeah. Yeah, the comments are going so fast still. I'm having a really hard time catching up with everybody. So thank you guys so much for being here. Cryptidville actually lives near the LBL. And he researches with a guy who had a real fear of ending up with witch knots in his hair.
Was he in prison?
That's not funny. I shouldn't have laughed at that. I'm so sorry.
That was a terrible joke on all of our part. Terrible.
You know what? But here's the thing. Like I actually, when we brought that up, Barry, I thought it was important for us to kind of just gently touch on that. So that sounds like a horrible pun there, but
when people got mad at me was the people saying, "Oh, Barry, there are our Forest brothers. They would never do that." And I say, the truth is you don't really know. You don't know that much about them. So you can't make that call. And it is a very sensitive subject, but it is what it is. And since really delving into that a little bit, I've met other people that say this is happening on their property, and it's a real deal. So it sometimes comes down to maybe, is it always sexual assault, or is it just an affectional deal? Is it just affection? I don't know. Who's to say? I'm not an expert on it, but it's what the researchers are talking about, and it's kind of taboo in the Sasquatch community, as it's been told to me.
Yeah, I'm not planning to remote view that. Just so y'all know, I'm Not going to remote view
That's
that
funny,
one.
but I'm
Okay.
trying not to laugh because people get mad when I laugh. So I'm trying to laugh, but that was pretty good. That was a punchline. That was good.
Yeah, I'm not remote viewing that one.
That was good.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I do think, I mean, there's a good, bad, and ugly in everything, Gene. You're completely right. And, you know, and even with it, what surprised me was a dog man. I mean, the Beast of Bray Road is a dog man, but they're not out there hurting people. Okay. So you're absolutely right. And we need to acknowledge that fact that not all dog men are bad. Okay. But don't go up and try to pet one. Okay. A lot of them are very bad and they will eat you.
Okay. What do you, and I'm going to ask the crowd out here, the audience, what do you all think the devil monkeys really are?
Yeah, what is a devil monkey? I thought a devil monkey was some type of a Sasquatch, personally.
It looks kind of a little bit more like a mandrill with a tail.
Well, that was.
It's got some different characteristics about it.
Yeah.
David describes me slightly different, but once again, with them, something I found interesting is the amount of accounts I've heard of them being impervious to bullets. And we start looking at what what's the guy that wrote the Mount Helen's apes? That guy that said there were manifested beings. You know, when looking at that, we're dealing with another type of manifested being.
That was the Ape Canyon attack.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, manifested being. We did a whole show on that, actually.
Good one too.
Yeah.
Oh, you see, I saw that Duke Sullivan's in chat. He just said something. Okay, so Duke Sullivan, I have a question for you. Do you feel the Gugwe and the Type 3 Sasquatch are natural to like the Sasquatch chain, to their community, to their species? Do you feel they're natural, or is there a possibility that they were introduced?
I'm sorry, I froze, Barry. Were you asking me or asking Duke?
I was asking Duke. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Duke. Duke's in the chat. Super Duke.
Because, you know, I've often heard them referred to as a mutant species also. And I think that's another interesting concept concerning the Gugwe and those Type 3, the ones that have the nozzles, the muzzles.
Yeah. Oh, you know, that's a good point. Brown Dwarf brought up. You're asking about the devil monkeys. Maybe they're bat squatches.
You know, in that same video I mentioned with John Vivinko, I started laughing uncontrollably in that because those guys, they were teasing me and I was teasing them because they were talking about this bat squatch. And for me, just the name was so silly. But when we start really going into what these bat squatches were, you know, they're a type of one of these species of Mothman, technically. And I found that fascinating, you know. So again, we're dealing with this, where does this laboratory type of stuff going on, you know?
Right.
But actually, they weren't the negative things that you would assume with the data you got on the Mothman shows that they weren't the negative things that we would perceive, you know.
Yeah.
So, fascinating.
Yeah. Wow. There's yeah, well, actually, yeah. Well, I just took that comment down. Matthew said that they're the devil monkey leaves 3-toed tracks that look more like baboon. They're in between about 4 to 6 feet tall. So that was from Matt Delph. So yeah. So Josh is saying Gugwe are created through Dogman and Bigfoot. Interesting. I wonder if that's like
they look that way. They look that way. They look like a splice between that. Yeah. I did a video on my YouTube channel. Is a video over devil monkeys. People might find interesting. But I would have to agree with that. If you're looking at a splice between, that's exactly what they appear to be. You know, very fascinating.
It's interesting. Yeah. You know what, Barry? You should link up with Josh. You guys would have a lot in common. Yeah,
cool.
I think. Yeah, I have a lot to talk about. Yeah, I got another bat squatch up in here. We got bat squatches. You know that the drawing of the Beast of LBL, Barton Nunley actually drew that as a sketch from eyewitness accounts. It looks like a bat squatch kind of. I mean, it doesn't have like the wing; it's just the face, but it kind of looks like a bat squatch to me.
Almost all the bat squatch encounters I heard about, they're always described as having these self-illuminating eyes. And it's all these creatures that have these self-illuminating eyes that I think have the potential to have cyborg type of components or something.
Mm-hmm.
We really need to take that seriously. The cyborgs goes far beyond just I'll be back. It goes
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
For an example, at the ranch that was mentioned earlier, that is SETI Ranch, okay, at Mount Adams, James Gillian, especially the first year I was out there, they talked about this a lot, that there was this huge bird that almost looked like a small teratorn flying around the mountain sometimes. And it had been seen in various areas around the mountain, sometimes eating roadkill. But when I'm hearing about this and how it's seen, I kept picking up with this dimensional door that's seen and this other stuff. It sounds to me, it's so weird, but I pick up stuff from Spirit, and I'm seeing the freaking Transformers, the Dinobots. They had one of them was a flying pterodactyl.
Oh,
And
yeah.
but in terms of that, but this thing that they're seeing, some type of a sentinel that a cyborg still would need to take care of the human component or the animal component. So it would eat roadkill and things like that. It's just fascinating, the stuff that surrounds that ranch. It's really interesting. So anyway, I'm getting
interesting. Well, Matthew's up in here. Quit writing and driving, Matt. You're going to have a wreck. Okay. He said in 1934, Pittsburgh, Tennessee had a huge problem with the devil monkey.
Oh, you froze up. Oh, I can see it though. Matthew, were they hurting people? Were they attacking people?
What the heck is wrong with my internet tonight, y'all? I don't know what's going on. I'm back.
Hey, Matthew, were they attacking people? The devil monkeys?
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to find out. But they were attacking them. Okay. Oh my gosh. All right. I'm not gonna say who this is, but this is someone that I know very well. She says, my great grandmother was attacked by a monkey on a train ride in the 1930s. It's a good comment, but it doesn't have anything to do with the devil monkeys. But that was a devil monkey, probably.
There's that lady that got her face completely dismembered by that chimpanzee. Yes. And there was something else that happened too. There was an old movie called, I think it's Which Way Loose with Clint Eastwood, where he's running around with the orangutan. You ever remember that movie? But anyway, that orangutan and several of the others from like the 70s were all in this like a retreat or someplace like this place where all the ones from the movies went to. And I think the one that was with Clint Eastwood, at least from that movie, escaped his cage and let all the others out. And they attacked the people. They killed a bunch of people. Look that up. They killed some people. Even when the police got there, they killed a couple police or attacked one or two of them. Yeah, they had to kill like all those monkeys. It was a really bad deal. It was like a retreat or ranch for these monkeys that were in the movie.
I remember that. Yeah.
Monkeys and apes, yeah.
Oh,
so crazy. They're wild animals, so.
I mean, you can put on a pair of overalls on them and dress them up, but they're still going to kill you. Still wild animals. So, and they're very strong.
That's what they will say. For those of y'all that have actually seen a Sasquatch, I've talked to a few people, the ones that have seen the ones that are really, really muscular, like maybe type 1s or type the ones looks like more relic hominid. But they're been described as so muscular. And the guy that I talked to was an ex-police officer, and he had said that he used to bowl. I used to work in a bowling alley. And he said, you understand this thing was about 9 feet tall, had about a 3.5 foot clavicle, but its muscles were like, he's looking at me, I was a bowler. I used 18 pounder. He said, its biceps look like that. And I'm like, wow. Man, what is it like to really see that? It's got to do something to you.
Bowling ball.
And that is what's designed for this planet, not these bodies. That's for sure. No matter how we look at it, I find that fascinating. How strong do they get? How fast do they get? If you're familiar with that stuff on MK Davis's channel with the at the Texas habituation, they've got the one called Whitey's Run. And before I went to the ranch, I got bombarded with this obsession with albino Sasquatch. I know why now. But that's a good one.
Yeah.
First, you see this thing, it does a backflip against the tree, like a back scratch. It makes no sense. And then it tears off across the field so quick and goes down the ravine. I mean, lightning quick speed. I think that's impressive, Jessica.
Yeah, super impressive. Yeah, my German Shepherd just came and knocked in the door and came in.
I know
Now,
I like those dogs.
they're awesome. She's the best. Barry, now Josh Turner has a show called Paranormal Roundtable, and he would love to have you on his show, he says. So I am definitely going to get you guys connected. And you definitely need to go link up with Josh for sure. Okay, Josh, thank you so much for being here again tonight. I have a lot of fun talking to Josh. We got a lot in common. So as far as paranormal goes, yeah. But yeah, Darkwoods. The Gugway has 3-toed tracks. I've heard that too. I've actually heard that too.
It's the mountain giants, isn't it?
The
They
Gugway.
have 4-toed tracks. The mountain giants. Don't they have 4 or is it 3?
I don't know. There's a lot of 3-toed tracks out there. So I mean, it could be anything from Dogman to the Lizard Man, reptilians to whatever. I don't know.
I like to find out. That's a good statement. Does the Gugwee have 3-toed tracks? That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. I don't want to come face to face with one, but if anybody knows, where is Duke? I keep seeing Duke coming up in here, but I can't see his comment.
What's the one you remote viewed? That wouldn't be the LBL creature. It was another one. The Dewey Lake Monster.
The Dewey Lake Monster. Okay, that looks like a bear.
Yeah, that looked more Gugwee-like to a degree, right? But it had
It did.
it had more bear-like tracks, right? I think
it did. Well, that is actually what I was seeing, similar to what attacked those people recently in the past year or two in East Tennessee. The two people, there was a woman and a man, 2 separate incidences on the same road in East Tennessee, and it was a creature that looked like a bear, but I kept picking up zombie bear. And we came up with perhaps a Gugway of some sort, or the Dewey Lake Monster. So it looks similar to the Dewey Lake Monster. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember actually seeing the tracks of this thing, so I'm not sure. But their deaths were blamed on packs of wild dogs killing them. I didn't pick up on a pack of wild dogs. I actually picked up on one large, gigantic animal killing them, both of them, separate times. So,
wow.
Yeah. Man.
Wow. Sorry, I was looking at the comments.
I know we've got some great comments. Yeah. Like I said, there's so many. Yes, Josh, this is the best guest ever. Barry, you are my Wikipedia of paranormal. Seriously, but you're straight up the real deal. And with Barry, with your background, I mean, you have been a contactee your whole life. And for most of your life, and you have such a diverse background in all facets of the paranormal, and that's what it really. It really
just looks cool because it's the internet. It makes me look cool. So it's easy.
No, it's you.
Thank you, though. Thank you.
But you cover all the bases. It's not just like you were just into the UFOs and ET contact. You're into everything, and you're so knowledgeable.
I think it's all. Thank you so much for saying. It all is like tied together, and it's the separate classifications that we want it to be. Sadly, because I like classifications, but sometimes, especially like when dealing with some of these beings that are whether they're interdimensional or extraterrestrial, but when they're really in your field of awareness and perception, a lot of them don't have names. You have to kind of deal with that. You know what I mean? You recognize them by the feeling and by the vibration, but they don't have names. I found that discerning at first. Yeah. But it is what it is, right?
It is. That's right. Yeah. Matt, you need to focus on driving, bud. Okay? I'm just kidding.
Illuminating eyes. What's he?
I'm kidding, Matt. I'm giving him a hard time. He called me the other night and was like, hey, I watched a video of yours about Mel's Hole. Can you come on a radio show with me in about an hour? Do a radio show about Mel's Hole.
What does Matt think about Mel's Hole?
Man, we've had so many jokes about remote viewing Mel's Hole. It's ridiculous. But yes.
Oh, yeah.
You were on that show with me, actually.
Jokes. That's right.
Yeah. There were a lot of jokes about that. But yeah, we talked about it on Scary Cast podcast. That was a good time, and we just recounted the whole story from Art Bell.
When talking about, in fact, I just did a show about time control technologies with Rob. Sorry,
Yeah.
but when reality, what you saw about the data you collected concerning Mount Mel's Hole, along with what I'd known too, is also showing it's a type of time control technology. What in time science it's called rotating cylinder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it very much what you described is that very much. In fact, you can look something up. People are listening called a Tipler cylinder, Tipler.
Okay.
Frank Tipler. It's a type of time science. So yeah, that there. But you were describing something like that, and that describes maybe some of the things that's seen coming out of it. The lights seen coming out of it. How things are going in and out of it is the interesting story. The whole Mel's Hole. And the main thing I want to know, was it real? And that's what you found out very quickly. I thought it was. I've heard a lot about it in different ways, but I thought so.
Yeah. Mel's Hole is real. Yeah.
That guy called in the 90s. Talk about a story that kept you on the edge of your seat.
Oh, yeah. Well, and Tanya also remote viewed that with me separately. And we came up with the same data, a lot of it, even the tumor seal stuff. Okay. That was weird. If you guys aren't familiar with Mel's Hole, y'all go back and watch my video from that. That was really weird. I picked up that it was a wormhole, actually. Oh Lord. So Matt said he believes it has something to do with the tunnels in Antarctica. Guess what? Everything has something to do with the tunnels in Antarctica. I swear to God.
Those could be triple cylinder also, like Matt.
Yeah.
Technically, seriously, that's a type of time technology. Remember that Tipler cylinder and check that out. I've even got, I've got a bunch of videos I've done, and I've done over time science, and one of them has got that on there, I'm sure. But that's in Antarctica, there could be such a thing. But we have to remember, in Antarctica, before it is like it is now, it would have been the perfect place. It's just bases everywhere, And then you have, after that, think about the movie Cocoon. Do you remember what was the big guy's name? He's a great actor, man. It was the leader.
The diabetes guy?
Right.
Diabetes.
The guy from Rambo, too, or from First Blood. He played the sheriff. I can't remember his name now, the actor. But he told him, he said, they're virtually immortal because there was on life energy. And he said, about every 1,000 years, I make a bad decision. He said, the last time was when we were here, and I said, or every 100 years, he said, and I chose Antarctica as the North Pole is our base. And everybody said, and he chose Atlantis for their base. Everybody else chose North Pole. He said, no, it's too cold. So he chose Atlantis, and it sank. And that's why they had to come back and get their people. I thought that was just funny,
Yeah. Wilford Brimley.
Wilford Brimley was the old man that was jumping in the pool. I'm talking about the other guy. Brian something is his name. He just died this year. The other guy, but Wilford Brimley, I thought he was one of my favorite characters. Him and Dom Amici, right?
Oh my gosh, man! I know. This is a great show, Barry. We've had a lot. We still have a lot of people in the chat tonight, and we could go on forever. We've gone over 2 hours. This is the longest show I've done live, actually, on my own channel.
I like how the audience has been able to have been a part of it. It's hard to keep up with it, but it's just so many really sharp people in here, and people have their own experiences, more stuff I don't know, than I know.
We're having a good time tonight. This is fun. Yeah.
And energy, no haters. That's cool, man. So.
And I know Duke's in the chat, but I haven't seen him. The chats are going by. Duke, I would love to put your comment up on here, but I just have not. I haven't seen your comments. But I know you're in here.
Space Exposure says, I've heard nothing good about the black cube. I've been on a few different ships where they're black cubes in several different ways. I have some illustrations of them. And, it depends. If you want to look in terms of black energy, the cube shape itself mathematically can be used to contain consciousness, to contain soul energy. So if you have beings that are needing to contain energy or do soul transfer into clone bodies or something like that, we're talking about beings that don't have physical bodies, extraterrestrial or whatever. That's another part there. That's where that can definitely be negative. But like the craft that I was on, that I saw these black boxes, they were described to me differently as these inertial dampeners of a type that were actually, the form itself was used to collect prana, orgone, chi energy. Okay, so then that way it was used also released as an anti-gravity field around the skin of the ship. So these were used to contain like actually life energy in that way. So it's not always a bad thing, these black cubes we see on the craft. And keep in mind that the universe we come from here, not just talking dimensionally, but universally, our universe is based on the spin, all the way from the molecule, the atom, all the way up to the way the orbits of our planets, to the spheres, to the galaxies themselves. Everything in this universe is based on the spin. You go to another universe, it may be based on something like the cube or the pyramid or amorphous metals, something of that nature, okay? So when you deal with craft that are from other dimensions or other universes, a way to transport materials or life energy from one dimension or one universe to another would be that cube shape, or the pyramid, or something that's going to be universal between both.
Yeah.
I'll shut up now. Just food for thought. So black boxes aren't always a negative thing, but there is a connotation when you start dealing with soul technology and actually reincarnation technology and things of that nature, that it is a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coincidentally, before I shut up, the black box, along with the black substance that you and Tanya had seen on the Alaskan pyramid, I believe scientifically there's now something we have called Vantablack, Vantablack. And Vantablack is actually a type of melanin that is a substance that's a melanated substance that actually blocks out light in a different way, like absorbs it. It's a different type of material. I believe that's the very material that were on these black pyramids that you saw.
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
also the black satellite too. I think that's on the black satellite too. You're familiar with that?
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, I actually, Tanya and I both picked up immediately that it was also consisted of obsidian. Black obsidian is part of what that pyramid was made out of. So, and it was a big old power generator of some sort. So, yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, I'm really interested in all that kind of stuff.
That's what Linda Moulton Howe had done a dreamland back in the days before Art Bell had passed. And they were talking about that. That's the first time she had talked about that Alaskan pyramid. And the gentleman, the whistleblower that she had on there she played a clip, he was saying how he was told that it was enough to easily power the whole continent all of Alaska. Yeah, easily.
Yeah, I actually got that. I was picking up on like Thanos vibes. Like there was something about it that could completely wipe out everything. Okay. I'm not sure what that is, but it was such a powerful power generating source. And Tanya actually picked up that the pyramid there's a pyramid on top and a pyramid on the bottom as well. And so it was shooting. I didn't pick up so much on the pyramid on the bottom, but I think I drew it though. I drew it. But she was picking up that it was actually putting energy down into the earth as a power source. Like now could that be powering inner earth, whatever they got going on down there? Probably.
Past life memories I've long seen. And I think these will come to fruition. Reverse pyramids that are in the ground and in the sea that are all different construction, but they're reverse pyramids. There's one that's been found in India already that it's going down, but these reverse pyramids, whole other thing going on there. And I think there's a lot of those in Alaska. There's a lot of those in Antarctica, and also I think in the Amazon. I'm always curious why there seems to be so much dinosaur activity and cryptid activity in the Congo. When you look into that, and not just Ogopogo, there's a lot more than that. There's
pterodactyls,
like different type of brontosaurus seen there, and all sorts of stuff.
Pterosaurs.
Yeah, I find that fascinating.
Yeah, and what's up with the resurgence of dinosaurs being spotted all over? I did remote view pterosaurs in real life pterosaur sightings. Jason McLean, that's part of Texas Front Porch, actually saw a pterosaur with his own eyes back a while back, and I remote viewed it. It's a real thing, y'all. It's a real thing. So, yeah.
Wow, my uncle, he was deployed at one time, and he was over there in Vietnam. He's long deceased now, but he had told me that he had seen a dinosaur in the jungle there, and he had said that he talked about the different mambas that would drop out of the trees, how deadly they were, and they lost a lot of people from that, is what he said. But then he talked about this type of he almost described it as looking like what they call it's the Jesus lizard. It's the lizard that flares out and he gets him and runs across the water. He described it similar to that, and it's just spitting salmonella, but it's standing up and then walking off on twos. But not, I said, like the Jesus lizard? He said, no, B, this is much bigger than that. And this was a different deal. So he was convinced that in the deep jungle there's still dinosaurs of some type.
I think so. Yeah. We don't know what all's hiding out there. And some of them could be lab made for all we know. So yeah.
I had heard a story from one of the speleologists
From
time
the Speleological Society.
Mm-hmm.
That's caving, right? Caving rocks.
Yeah.
That.
And they got a lot of scientists with them too. And this is like kind of like what you do. Yeah. But they had talked about these pools that you go so many levels down, you come across these pools that are almost like small beaches in there, underground beaches and pools. But how during this certain pool had these luminescent, not the worms, but the fish, luminescent fish in it. And that on this beach was these tracks of lizard tracks, not even amphibious. She said there were lizards. So I found that was interesting that were bipedal. And it went on back into whatever it is, went back in there. And that's just interesting to see any type of one lizard that would be, it's fascinating. Things that we don't know about, especially when dealing with what those speleologists are looking for. Yeah. You talk to them, they say under Mount Shasta, there's nothing under there. They've been under there all through there. And that so people that are spiritually get mad. Well, there's a base there, but it's in another dimension. Probably.
Probably. I know, right?
I'm not trying to laugh.
Yeah, well, and that reminds me of like when I have been hanging out with certain groups of my friends, and they're like, "Well, we just saw a Bigfoot," and I'm like, "Oh, where is it?" Thinking it's like a Bigfoot, like, well, you can see it, and it's like flesh and bone and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, it was in my third eye," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, that doesn't mean they didn't see it, but it's not." As a researcher, I'm like, okay, well, that was their experience, so you can't discount it, but it's like, well, it wasn't. It's different. It's different. Like,
I've had interactions.
It's different.
I've never seen one either, technically.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I was kind of okay with that, especially when you're actually out there in the mountains, all remote. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, I think I'm all right that I actually seen one. But now I think I'm at a point in my life I would like to see it,
Yeah.
And never mind. I wouldn't talk about that. I wouldn't go into that. But
I know. Let's not go there because we're gonna get some people upset tonight, and we're having a great show. Listen, this has been a really good show tonight.
The videos I did, like how I was being watched by one, and how I have to accept that, how the camouflage aspect, have to accept it. It's on the picture, you saw it.
Yeah. So, oh yeah.
It's one thing to talk about this stuff, but it's different when you experience it. It's that whoa moment where that moment where they say, what is it that I think the Christian Bible says you have to be as of children to get into the kingdom of heaven or something like that. And, I'm not a religious, but it says something like that. And I think when it says that, it is in regards, every time I have something paranormal happen to me, no matter what it is, I feel brand new, always.
Yeah.
Brand new. You know what I mean? There's an astonishment, like that child wonderment that comes with it.
Well,
I think
that's
that's
how we all should be.
Keeps us going and keeps us living, keeps us,
It does. That's why I do what I do, okay? Because I love learning new things and meeting new people. and having all these new experiences. And yeah, it's what life is all about. Okay. And I always tell everybody, do something that scares the hell out of you at least once a year. Okay. In a good way. Like going Bigfooting or something. I mean, just something. Go, diving, or what do you call it? Parachuting or something. Skydiving. Do something that just scares you, just to get your life, your blood pumping again. Okay. Because that's what life's all about. When we leave this life, we want to, hey, oh, thank you, Dave. When we leave this world, we want to go out kicking and screaming, bruises and battered and looking crazy, having fun. Like we've lived a very awesome life, not all delicate. And you know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean. Dave, thank you so much for that super chat. You are the best. That's Dave Scott, y'all, Spaced Out Radio. You guys join me this weekend on Spaced Out Radio, please. I will be having some amazing guests. Tomorrow night, actually, I have Craig Woolheater from the Texas Bigfoot Conference that's going to be going on in 2 weeks, in the next week. And with Crypto Mundo, y'all know Craig, okay? And on Sunday, I have the Sasquatch Sisters Northwest coming on Spaced Out Radio. That includes Tanya, my friend Tanya, that remote views with me, and Cindy and Deanna and Angelique. Okay, they're all going to be on my show Sunday. It's going to be girl talk, but it's going to be fun. We're going to be talking about, they have Dogman encounters up on Hoodoo Mountain, y'all. So Dogman, Sasquatch, and ETs. So that's going to be a good time. So y'all please tune in this weekend. 10 p.m. Eastern. All right. But yeah, Barry, I mean, this show could go on forever, y'all. I'm having so much fun. What is it?
So I'm way behind on the comments. I thought I was up to date, but I'm still way back there. But I've seen a couple of things. One of them, there's two things, and I'll shut up. But first of all, this person, Strangeland, Dreamscape. Dreamscape is my favorite movie of all time, period. When Max von Sydow died a couple of years ago, I wasn't just sad because he was Ming. I was sad because he was Novotny from Dreamscape. I think that movie is prevalent in terms, especially dealing with psychic abilities and projecting into the dreamscape, and how other beings, like when you really go through the gates of dreaming and you become a master cognitively, if you can do it, you start realizing you're just in the middle of an electron impulse and what other energy generating beings are in your field of awareness. Dreamscape is a great movie. Just put that to you later. Somebody mentioned that. Another thing, I think it was Titan, kept mentioning about skinwalking being demonic and some things versus that. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that, because the way that I was shown that actual shape-shifting occurs is through the dream body. Once you can master putting your cognitive abilities, full cognitive abilities like they are now, into the energy dream body. Okay. Yeah. And once you can do that, that body doesn't conform to the same physical parameters and physical laws of this one. And that's when you can actually focus your cognitive perception on something and zone in. And that's how I had done it, on one thing particularly. Then you start becoming that and start molding the dream body itself. And that's fascinating, because correlating what I just said with physical experiences, extraterrestrial encounters versus astral dream encounters. Okay. And I just did a interview with Alexis Brooks about 2 days ago. She wanted to talk about this specifically. Okay. Because in one of my earlier experiences, I saw some people on a craft, but they were like translucent and they were touching the light on the edge of this deck. And I'm sitting up there about to throw up. I'm getting sick because being there it's off. Okay. It's like being on a merry-go-round. It's called temporal aphasia, but they weren't suffering from that because they were in their dream spot, their dream body. So in that way, and a couple of the people that I saw in that group, I've met in my real life now.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 of them actually. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Them.
One of them can't remember it. One can remember it touching the light. So I talked about that on Alexis' show. But anyway, and I've got illustrations of this engine and this light and what I saw and everything. So, sorry, I don't want to go too far out. Putting that together, though, with this dream body and shape-shifting thing, then again, they were seeing in the dream body because they were being spared the temporal aphasia that I'm about to throw up and puke. They're not going through that. Okay, so the contact is not being interrupted by the fact that they can't exist long in the environment that they're in. Okay, that's the problem I was having. So that's just food for thought, all right? This goes not just in terms of shape-shifting, but all the way into different contact experiences. So right now, I've always said, Jessica, since before I ever came forward in 2014, that I believe about almost 80% of our population has had some type of contact, deep contact, but it happens on the superconscious and subconscious levels. You know what I mean? And during the dream state is the one place they can meet us together. But most of it, if you're like me, it's really hard to sustain dream attention. Not everybody just goes to sleep and then I was doing this, I was doing that. Some people will be knocked out. Like I go lay down,
Me too.
half the time, man. I'm not, So it's
I'm the same. I'm the same. It depends. Yeah.
These are feats of perception and things, and it's not easy, but we're all capable of it,
Yeah. Well, Barry, let's do one last question tonight. Let's touch on one more thing, and then we're going to call it a night because this has been really fun. I don't want to stop talking tonight, but I know I got a long weekend full of shows. So let's look. Titan would like to know what we think about the black-eyed children in the spirit of Halloween. Okay, it is Halloween month. So what are your thoughts? I mean, this could be a whole show, actually. Black-eyed children, right, Barry?
We talked about this before, I think. Yeah. Check it out. It'll be a pleasure. Good question. Okay, my friend, I think the black-eyed children is a phenomenon that is a warning system. Okay, and when dealing with that, okay, there's similar some things about them that are noted. Is one that they're not just they have some similarities to the men in black in terms they're always wearing this black. They're always saying have black hoodies and everything. They sound like vampires. They ask to come in first and everything. But the reason why I say I think they're a warning system is one, the way they make people feel when they actually get around them, okay? Not just this fear they evoke. And secondly, the way people have responded, the few people that say they've actually touched them or their kids touched them or somebody touched one. Okay, so putting this all together, what I think they are is as a warning system, I think they're actually what's similar to what used to be called when I was a kid, the garbage pail kids. There were these cards that came out that were an answer for the Cabbage Patch dolls. And it caused a great disturbance because the bureaucracy behind it was that the garbage pail kids were supposed to be the survivors of a nuclear fallout, nuclear war. And I believe that's what the dark-eyed children represent. They've been on a timeline which has been nuclear war, which is a timeline that there's civilizations trying to jump us to now. Nuclear war always comes up here. We talked about the Mandela effect and about these time edits that come up during the time of high solar activity. And we're in one right now. And the threat of nuclear war has always been one timeline we're on. And I think that's what they represent. So I think they're a warning system. Another reason I say that is the people that actually have touched one, they get immensely sick afterwards for a period of time. And when you look at the symptoms they describe, my God, it sounds an awful lot like radiation poisoning, excuse me, getting slurred. But anyway, so that's what I think the black-eyed children are. So in that way, they're similar to the men in black also. The first Men in Black reported by Al, I can't think of his name right now. But anyway, the first ones that he described, that they're always warning people.
What, Injured Cold? That was one, right? That whole thing.
Yeah, even before that, though, the original guy that did the first writing of Al Bender. Okay. Al Bender did a deal about that. He said that they're warning him, get off the UFO thing, because they were here getting something out of our ocean and they didn't want humanity learning about it. So it just food for thought, okay? I'm not saying it's all correct, but these things we can evaluate definitely. And when looking at the black-eyed children, I said years ago when I did a couple of videos on it, there's one on my channel about them. And I said I didn't think it was a phenomenon that would persist for so long because it was something that's a timeline deal. And sure enough, you don't hear about them as much being as encountered as you used to. So. Wow.
Yeah, we actually brought up the black-eyed children when we were talking about the Mothman, when I remote viewed the Mothman. They were a harbinger, or something to warn people. So we made a connection.
Yeah,
A lot of these things are connected in some
Warning
really
system.
weird way. Yeah, warning system. Yeah. Well, I think that was awesome. Okay. And
That was a great question too.
that was a great question. Thank you, Titan. And thank you to everybody who joined us tonight. This is seriously
Fright Night, great movie. Me too. sorry. I'm geeking out over here, man. It's getting late. Geeking out.
I know, right? I know. We're night owls over here. So yeah, Barry, thank you so much for being here tonight. I mean, we originally started talking about the Beast of Bray Road, but this is our little after hours gig here on remote viewing investigations tonight. So thank you to everybody who came in. Thank you for all the super chats, all the super stickers tonight. You guys are just y'all are really a blessing for us here, and I do appreciate it. Barry, where can people find you?
Oh, wow. That's too.
Where can people find you? I got you. I got you. Don't worry.
I was looking at the comments. They're so cool.
I got you.
Old movies, and I can just go
right here.
Flatliners, Billy Mahoney, all this stuff. Anyway, you can catch me on YouTube under Barry Littleton. I do a lot of work on YouTube. I'm on Patreon. I got to catch back up on Patreon under Barry Littleton. I'm also on Facebook, Barry Littleton, and I have a website that's in desperate need for redesigning and updating, but it's barrylittleton.com, and there's some links on there to Facebook and the other stuff. So.
Yeah. All right, you guys, please join Barry's Patreon. It is amazing. Like Barry cranks out more just amazing videos than anybody I know. Okay, and so wealth of knowledge. That's all I can say. Just a wealth of knowledge. So yes, thank you guys. I know this has been a long show, y'all. Thank y'all for sticking around. And we're gonna do this again. We've got plenty of other shows. I'm not sure what the next remote viewing target will be, but it'll be good. I promise y'all. They're always good. And hopefully Barry will be here to hang out with me again. So
they'll get you tired. They'll boo me out of here.
Oh no, we're never getting booed. You're the best. You're the best. All right, y'all. Y'all have a wonderful evening, and join me tomorrow night on Space Out Radio. Look, Space Out Radio is next. You guys go join Dave Scott tonight. He's always got an amazing show. And what is this, Friday night? Yeah, Dave's on. So y'all go check out Dave Scott on Space Out Radio after this in about 30 minutes. Okay. Well, I will see you guys tomorrow night with Craig Woolheater. Okay. You guys please tune in on Wednesday nights to my new show, or Wednesday afternoons to my new show, A Glitch in the Matrix. And I will see y'all tomorrow night. Okay. Barry, thank you again for being here.
Thanks for having me. Thank you to the audience. Thank you all very much.
All right. Y'all have a good night. God bless everybody. And we'll see y'all soon. Bye, y'all.